Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. I'm in Western Capital. Marry Vados at the beginning. Chapter Beerus Star. Returning to Beerus again, Khan is like returning to his own home, no stranger at all. Sitting down across from Whis, Khan asked, "Whis, can you help me with anything?" Of course. A gleam flashed in Whis' eyes, and said, "Mr. Khan, I wonder if you have heard of the Gods of Destruction Summit." Gods of Destruction Summit. Hearing this, Khan immediately put away his idle attitude, and asked enthusiastically, "What is this stuff? It sounds like a lot of fun." Immediately, Whis introduced the so-called Gods of Destruction Summit to Khan. The so-called Gods of Destruction Summit is a martial arts conference held between the 12 universe gods of destruction every 100 years. 12 universes of gods of destruction will be participating. This is a tradition that has been handed down many years before, and winning the crown at the Gods of Destruction Summit is an opportunity to try to make the big Gods of Destruction staff recognize its owner. In the Dragon Ball world, there are big angels like the Grand Priest, angel who manages 12 universes. But there is not one great Gods of Destruction that governs the 12 universe gods of destruction. Because in the current Dragon Ball world, there has not yet appeared a Gods of Destruction that can be recognized by the large Gods of Destruction staff. Therefore, every 100 years, a Gods of Destruction Summit will be held to strive for an early election of candidates for the great Gods of Destruction. So far, no one has ever pulled out the big Gods of Destruction staff, and no one knows what is the prerequisite for the big Gods of Destruction staff to recognize its master. Maybe its powerful strength, maybe it's perseverance, or maybe it's monstrous potential and talent. Or maybe all three. And according to Grand Priest, as long as you can pull out the big Gods of Destruction staff, it means that the staff has recognized you. Whoever pulls out the staff will become the first Grand Gods of Destruction under the current Xeno ruling system. The status of the great Gods of Destruction is equal to the Grand Priest, who is the head of the great angel. Certainly, the prerequisite for being a great Gods of Destruction is that you have enough strength to make the 12 universe Gods of Destruction willing to call you king. Otherwise, even if you become a great Gods of Destruction, if your strength is not as good as Gods of Destruction, then you, the great Gods of Destruction, will have no majesty at all. The world of Dragon Ball is just such a world. The strong is respected, and the victor is king. Without great strength, it is nothing. After giving Khan a detailed introduction to the Gods of Destruction Summit, Whis added, "Considering that Lord Beerus is sleeping now, I don't want to disturb him, so I can only think of asking you to temporarily replace Lord Beerus to attend this summit. The next Gods of Destruction Summit." On the one hand, Beerus is sleeping, on the other hand, Whis is also thinking about Vados. Although Khan's current strength is not weak, but in the God system under Xeno's rule, it is still not strong. Most importantly, Khan's identity is human. It stands to reason that it is not worthy of the status of Vados angel. Therefore, if Khan wants to be worthy of Vados in terms of identity, he must become the great Gods of Destruction. This time the Gods of Destruction Summit is undoubtedly the best time. That's all Whis can do to help. So, Mr. Khan, I wonder if you are interested in the Gods of Destruction Summit. Interesting. Khan raised his mouth and said excitedly, "I participated." It was Khan's dream to compete with Gods of Destruction from the 12 universes. Now I am afraid that only the Gods of Destruction and the Grey Jiren, who is known as the strongest human being, can arouse Khan's desire to fight. The most important thing is that if you win the crown at the Gods of Destruction Summit, you will have another chance to try to make the big Gods of Destruction staff recognize the owner. This is the main thing. Angel's staff is already strong enough, the big Gods of Destruction staff can't be weaker than Angel's. Oops. Whis was a little surprised that Khan agreed so simply. He had expected Khan to hesitate. Immediately, Whis smiled lightly and said, "Then it's decided, this time you will attend the Gods of Destruction Summit as the 7th universe Gods of Destruction candidate." Khan nodded and said he had no opinion. "Where is the venue?" "Big Gods of Destruction Circle." Big Gods of Destruction Circle. It is a space independent of the 12 universes. Similar to the kind of space Xeno Palace is in. Also the space where the Palace of the Great Gods of Destruction is located. However, since there is currently no Great Gods of Destruction in office, the Great Gods of Destruction realm is still in a state of no owner, and to enter the Great Gods of Destruction realm, 12 universe angels need to work together to open a path leading to the Great Gods of Destruction realm Isle. After a little reorganization, Whis led Khan to the rendezvous point in the first universe. When Whis and Khan arrived at the assembly point, gods of destruction and angels from the other 11 universes had already arrived. Sorry for being a little late. Arriving at the meeting place, Whis said seriously. Shout, it's really a big error, every time your 7th universe comes the latest. The 4th universe gods of destruction. Quitella folded his hands on his chest and said sarcastically. Quitella and Beerus are not easy to deal with, so Quitella will not let go of any opportunity to ridicule Beerus. It doesn't seem to be Beerus, is the 7th universe replaced by gods of destruction. The 10th universe gods of destruction. Rumsshi was also a little dissatisfied with Beerus's behavior of being late every session, but when he took a closer look, he realized that it wasn't Beerus who came. It was a strange face. After Rumsshi said this, the gods of destruction and angel cast their sights over. Why is this evil star? Seeing Khan's Setsuna, Champa's psychological shadow came up again, and he couldn't help but shudder. It's not the psychological shadow that Khan gave him, but the psychological shadow that Grand Priest gave him. The Grand Priest had warned him that day not to trouble Khan again. What? Beerus was too scared to come, so he found someone to take the place of the dead ghost. Gods of destruction. Vermut, the clown of the 11th universe, taunted with disdain. Could it be that he didn't dare to come because he was afraid that I would break his leg? Seeing that it wasn't Beerus who came, Terra became even more excited. Other gods of destruction are also being talked about. Generally speaking, the gods of destruction summits are personally attended by the gods of destruction of each universe, so Khan immediately became the focus of discussion of the gods of destruction of each universe. Listening to all kinds of malicious and cynical speculations from various universe gods of destruction, Whis explained, since Mr. Beerus is unable to attend this Gods of Destruction summit due to some force majeure factors, the 7th universe Gods of Destruction candidate Mr. Khan will attend this Gods of Destruction summit in place of Lord Beerus. After finishing speaking, Whis winked at Khan. Without Whis reminding him, Khan naturally knew that at this time he had to leave a deep impression on these self-righteous and arrogant gods of destruction. Otherwise, everyone would really think that he is a persimmon and can be manipulated at will. Immediately, Khan took a step forward, glanced at the remaining 11 gods of destruction, and the extremely arrogant words resounded in the ears of every gods of destruction and angel. I, Khan, have come to this Gods of Destruction summit with one purpose. I will step on your bones to the top of the altar of the great gods of destruction. As soon as the words came out, the gods were in an uproar. After the uproar, the 12th universe gods of destruction Gold sneered at this and said, Hey, a mere gods of destruction candidate dares to be so arrogant, he really does not know his life or death. Human beings are not like this. They think they have a little power, but they are defiant. The 8th universe gods of destruction Likyr carried his hands on his back and said disapprovingly. People who live in their own world are like this. I can forgive your ignorance, but I don't know if other gods of destruction can forgive you. Vermut said in a superior tone. Quitella, who was watching Khan, suddenly grinned. There are candidates for any gods of destruction. The gods of destruction of the 7th universe has no quality, and the candidates certainly have no quality. Immediately, Quitella issued a letter of challenge to Khan. Your name is Khan. When the Gods of Destruction Summit officially begins, I will send you a challenge. I hope your strength can be directly proportional to your tone. I've accepted your challenge. I hope you won't make me feel too boring later. Khan accepted Quitella's challenge on the spot. Quitella's strength, even in Gods of Destruction, is second to none. But Khan didn't show any fear or retreat, instead he felt his blood boil. What a big tone, even Beerus dare not talk to me like that, who are you kid? Quitella said disdainfully. He thought that Beerus was already arrogant enough, but he didn't expect that Beerus's candidate was even more arrogant than him. I'm your father. Khan spit out a few words lightly, but Quitella almost broke his defense. You boy, wait for me, when I trample you on the ground, I hope your mouth can still be as hard as it is now. Quitella growled angrily. He was really pissed off by Khan. Not since he was in the 4th universe Gods of Destruction has anyone dared to talk to him like that, including Beerus. Whoa, let's see how you end up, Khan. Seeing that Khan became the target of public criticism, Champa, who had been silently watching from the sidelines, was delighted. He didn't dare to provoke Khan anymore, but that didn't mean the other gods of destruction didn't dare to provoke Khan. Not to mention that this is the Gods of Destruction Summit. Once in the ring at the Gods of Destruction Summit, even if Khan was trampled underfoot, it would be reasonable, even the Grand Priest can't say anything. The thought of Khan being trampled underfoot by Quitella later made Champa feel extremely relieved. Make you crazy? Do you really think the Gods of Destruction Summit is just playing tricks with you? There is no Grand Priest to protect you here. Khan just shrugged casually and didn't respond to Daetra's words. It's useless to say more now, and the real chapter will be over later. Seeing that the match between Khan and Quitella was over, Whis said, "Now that everyone is here, let's start." The other 11 angels nodded in unison. Immediately afterwards, the 12 angels raised their angel staffs in unison, pointing to the endless void in front of them. Go, go, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 12 colorful energy beams are refracted from the angel staffs in the hands of angels, and meet in the endless void in front of them to form a dazzling colorful energy beam. In the end, it directly hit the endless void. Setsuna room. In the endless void directly in front, there are waves of fluctuations like ripples, rippling layer by layer. Under the continuous injection of colorful energy beams, a colorful passage leading to the big Gods of Destruction world appeared. Everyone, let me go first. After opening up a passage leading to the great Gods of Destruction realm, the first universe Gods of Destruction IWNE took the lead and rushed out, followed by Angel Avamo. Quitella stared at Khan unkindly, and then also swept into the colorful passage. Mr. Khan, let's go too. Khan didn't ink anymore, so he deployed the flying technique and followed the large army along the colorful path into the big Gods of Destruction world. As it continued to deepen, June had to close his eyes because of the extremely dazzling colorful light. After continuing to fly like this for a few minutes, the colorful light disappeared. Khan opened his eyes again, and a whole new world appeared in Khan's sight. Is this the big Gods of Destruction world? Looking at the scene in front of him, Khan was deeply shocked. Directly in front of the line of sight, a purple palace in the shape of a big directly penetrates into the sky, exuding a magnificent and majestic aura. Momo shocked Khan's visual nerves and wrote to his heart. In front of this palace, Khan only felt that he was as small as an ant. He even felt a breath of ancient times. If you can practice here, you will get twice the result with half the effort. This palace is the famous Great Gods of Destruction Palace, which was built by the legendary dragon god Salama himself, but it is currently in a state of no owner. Whis on the side introduced Khan. Khan nodded slightly. In Whis' words, Khan also got a message. Dragon god Salama. Could it be said that the legendary dragon god Salama who created the Super Dragon Ball is still alive? But apparently, Khan doesn't have time to think about that right now. He shifted his eyes and continued to look at this big world. At the foot of the Great Gods of Destruction Palace, there is a piece of greenery, among which there are several long buildings with the same style as the Great Gods of Destruction Palace. Like a crawling dragon, it surrounds the Palace of Gods of Destruction, like stars holding the moon. After taking a rough look around, Khan said in shock, "It's a beautiful, imposing place." Want to be the master here? Whis asked suddenly. Khan raised his mouth and said ambitiously, "Of course." Shout, a mere candidate for Gods of Destruction also wants to become the owner of this place. At this time, Quitella's disdainful voice full of sarcasm came again, "Arrogant boy. Instead of thinking about whether you can become the master of this place, it is better to think about whether you can leave here standing up today. My Quitella method is not for nothing." Ah yes yes yes. Khan did not contradict Quitella's words. It made Quitella feel like a punch in the sponge that didn't achieve anything. It made him feel uneasy for a while. Shout, "Wait for me, you won't be arrogant for long." Putting down a harsh word, Quitella took the fourth universe angel Conic to the big Gods of Destruction Palace. Looking at Quitella's back, Whis reminded, "Mr. Khan, this Quitella's strength is not weaker than that of Master Beerus. Even if you look at the 12 universe Gods of Destruction, his strength can still be among the best. So you have to be careful." Khan shrugged and said disapprovingly, "It's just a mouse. I'll beat him back into the sewer later." The entire Palace of Gods of Destruction is divided into 10 floors, and each floor has many functions. These are not listed for now. The venue for the Gods of Destruction Summit is located on the side of the big Gods of Destruction Palace. It has its own floor and is also the venue for the Gods of Destruction Summit. Khan and Whis followed the large group into the venue slowly. From the outside, the space on this floor is not very big, but after actually entering the inside, Khan discovered that there is something strange inside. A super large arena with a length and width of no less than 10,000 meters is impressively located in the center of this floor. Around the arena, there are 3 stone platforms suspended respectively, a total of 12. The 12 stone platforms are marked with Arabic numerals from 1 to 12, representing the contestants' platforms of the 12 universes, and they are also the audience's platforms. And in the midair directly behind the arena, there is a triangular altar floating. The top of the altar is a pure gold stone platform, which emits dazzling golden light, as if it is sacred and inviolable. A purple gold staff with a black crystal floating on the top was inserted into the pure gold stone platform at a 45-degree angle. Khan stared fierily at the purple gold staff, and excitedly said, "Whis, is that the big Gods of Destruction staff you mentioned?" Even though they are far apart, Khan can still feel a sea-like divine power from above. Good. Looking at the great Gods of Destruction staff, Whis also had a look of awe on his face. That is the great Gods of Destruction staff that all Gods of Destruction dream of. Whoever can get it will be the first great Gods of Destruction. Really? Khan noticed too. Not only him, every Gods of Destruction is watching the big Gods of Destruction staff with fiery eyes, wishing to take it as their own. Who has ever tried to make the great Gods of Destruction staff lord? Khan asked curiously. The one with the most number of times is of course Master Beerus. Master Beerus has tried a total of 357,048 times and did not end in failure. The second is Lord Gods of Destruction Quitella of the 4th universe. He tried a total of 330,681 times, but all of them failed. Other Gods of Destruction have also been tried more or less, and the results speak for themselves. Whis said. So, people have a love-hate relationship with the big Gods of Destruction staff. My grass. Khan gasped. Beerus tried 350,000 times without success. Is it so difficult? Since Beerus has tried 350,000 times, it means that he has won the championship 350,000 times at the Gods of Destruction Summit. Beerus is still fierce. It seems that compared with Beerus, Quitella is still slightly inferior. After a short tour, all the universe Gods of Destruction and Angel landed their seats. Whis also brought Khan down to the stone platform marked with the number 7. Thump. With the 12 universe Gods of Destruction and Angels in place, the surrounding walls suddenly burst into purple light, and even the floor below was covered by purple light. Looking down from the stone platform, it seems to be the light emanating from the floor itself. Extraordinarily dreamy and gorgeous. Immediately, Khan noticed that the expressions of the gods and the angels suddenly became awe-inspiring. Immediately afterwards, an ethereal Yuji's voice filled with sacred aura resounded from this space. Gods descend. The 1,999,999th Gods of Destruction Summit officially begins. Because there are newcomers in this Gods of Destruction Summit, I will briefly describe the rules of the Gods of Destruction Summit. To put it simply, the rule of the first round of the Gods of Destruction Summit is elimination. The first round draws lots to determine the opponent, the loser is eliminated, and the winner advances to the second round, which is also the final round. The final round is a points system. A total of 6 games were played. The 6 people who advanced in the first round have a chance to challenge the other 5 people who advanced. You can challenge 1 person or 5 people, it all depends on your personal strength and courage. 1 point will be awarded for each winner, and 1 point will be subtracted for the loser, and the points can be negative. After the final round of 6 games, the player with the most points will be the champion. You can get a chance to recognize the Lord of Gods of Destruction once. There are several ways to tell if a person is a loser. If you fall into the ring, you will be judged as a loser. If you admit defeat automatically, you will be judged as a loser, or if one of the parties falls down and has no strength to fight again, you will be judged as a loser. After listening to the rules, Khan frowned and questioned, isn't this a chance to cheat? What if the 6 people who have advanced cooperate with each other to score points? Mr. Khan, you don't have to worry about this. Whis vowed. Gods of Destruction Summit champions are those who can, if Gods of Destruction deliberately concedes defeat to other Gods of Destruction in the game, then he will be punished. Extremely severe punishment. By the way, let me tell you a secret. The one who presides over the Gods of Destruction Summit is Lord Salama, the Dragon God. Lord Salama has always been fair and just. If Gods of Destruction deliberately concedes defeat and is suspected of giving points to other Gods of Destruction, then these two Gods of Destruction will be disqualified immediately, and may even lose the position of Gods of Destruction. Therefore, in so many Gods of Destruction summits hosted by Lord Salama, no Gods of Destruction has ever dared to touch Lord Salama's reverse scale. Quote, I see. According to what was said, then he can rest assured. Khan was worried that the other Gods of Destruction would not like him, so he joined forces to cheat him, so it seemed that he was worried too much. Immediately afterwards, Khan asked again in a low voice, Whis, you said that the person hosting the Gods of Destruction Summit is Lord Salama, the Dragon God. Is he a woman? As you have heard, Lord Salama's voice is what gender he is. However, Lord Salama is hosting the Gods of Destruction Summit in Dragon God realm, and even I have never seen his real face. Khan nodded thoughtfully, understood. From the analysis of the name Salama, Khan always thought that Salama was a man, but Whis told him that Salama was a woman, which was beyond Khan's expectations. At this time, 12 purple light clusters appeared above the ring. Whis reminded, Mr. Khan, the lottery has begun. Khan came back to his senses. Good Li Jiao stretched out his big hand, and one of the purple light clusters swept towards Khan's palm. The other Gods of Destruction also received one of the purple light clusters one after another. Khan opened the purple light group in his palm, and a number 1 appeared in it. It means that he is the first player in the first round. Gods of Destruction, who also drew the number 1 with him, is his opponent. Looking at the number 4 in his hand, and then at the number 1 in Khan's hand, Quitella glanced at Khan, and said with a sinister smile, shouting, that kid named Khan, I hope you can make it to the second round, but don't get eliminated in the first round, otherwise it will be boring. It's the same for you, Stinky Mouse. You must last until the second round. Then I will beat you back to the sewer with my own hands. Khan responded emphatically. Just when Khan and Quitella were fighting each other in the air, N's opponent also came out. The one who got the number 1 like Khan was the 11th Universe Gods of Destruction, Vermut. Quitella, I'm really sorry, it seems that it's not your turn to deal with this arrogant kid. Seeing that his opponent was Khan, the corners of Vermut's mouth rose wildly. He had long since disliked Khan. You said that you were a mere candidate for Gods of Destruction, but you are even crazier than Beerus. Isn't this a draw? Among the Gods of Destruction, only the powerful are worthy of arrogance. If the strength is not enough, and dare to be arrogant in front of Gods of Destruction, it is undoubtedly a dung beetle who went to the toilet in the middle of the night, looking for death. Will the Gods of Destruction candidate from the 7th universe be the first to play? We can first see how strong he is. I hope his strength can be directly proportional to his tone, otherwise he is just a fool. Hey, his opponent is that Vermut guy, and I think he's going to be deflated. It's just a candidate for Gods of Destruction. There is still a huge gap between him and the real Gods of Destruction. If he loses to Vermut in the first round later, even Beerus will lose face. The rest of Gods of Destruction are all talking about. But almost everyone is not optimistic about Khan. After all, Gods of Destruction is just a candidate, not the real Gods of Destruction. To dare to be so arrogant at the Gods of Destruction Summit, it seems that he is an egomaniac who has never been beaten by society. Although Beerus is also crazy, but he has the capital of arrogance. After all, Beerus has won the title of Gods of Destruction Summit champion 350,000 times. And why are you a mere candidate for Gods of Destruction so crazy? What a stupid guy. The first time you came to the Gods of Destruction Summit and let you stand on the opposite side of all Gods of Destruction, I want to see how you end up. Quote. Gods of Destruction Champa gloated. He failed to teach Khan that day because of the Grand Priest. Now Khan can be seen being lectured by others, and Mumpaba is relieved. When you hate or even hate a person, no matter what he does, you don't like it. That's what Champa is to Khan. Although because of the Grand Priest, he did not dare to take the initiative to trouble Khan, but this did not prevent him from hating Khan. In fact, For Khan, the reason why he chose to stand on the opposite side of all gods of destruction is also a last resort. If he doesn't prove himself at the Gods of Destruction Summit, everyone will look down on him, and even think that he is just cannon fodder sent by Beerus. So what he has to do is stand up. Let this group of arrogant gods of destruction know that they are not easy to mess with. In the first match, Khan, the candidate for the 7th Universe Gods of Destruction, played against the 11th Universe Gods of Destruction Vermut, and both contestants took the stage. At the same time, the sacred and ethereal royal sister's voice of the dragon god Salama sounded again. It means the official start of the first round of the Gods of Destruction Summit. Tread. Vermut took the lead. Come on down, crazy CJFC guy. Before Khan went on stage, Whis reminded, Mr. Khan, the Gods of Destruction Vermut of the 11th Universe is a little scheming, please pay more attention. After all, Khan is also his student and his brother-in-law. So Whis doesn't want Khan to lose game one last time either. Not to mention winning the championship of this Gods of Destruction Summit, at least not stopping at the first round. I know. Khan nodded slightly, then leapt forward and landed gracefully directly opposite Vermut. It's my first time to participate in the Gods of Destruction Summit, but I can be so calm. It's admirable for her courage and courage. It's a pity that he faced Lord Vermut. I don't think the suspense of this victory should be too big, my minister. On the stone platform of the 11th Universe, Makarita looked down at Khan and Vermut below, and analyzed herself. Who can say for sure? Whis retorted. Mr. Khan, after all, he is a student I personally taught. Although he is not an official Gods of Destruction, if you underestimate his strength, it will capsize the ship. Really, let's wait and see, dear. Makarita raised her red lips, revealing a meaningful smile. You really have to be careful. For this, Champa has to admit. If you don't use Destruction, Gods of Destruction's exclusive clearing skill, and just compete with martial arts and strength, judging from his last fight with Khan. Khan's strength is indeed remarkable. So against Khan, you still can't take it lightly. All eyes were on Khan and Vermut as they took to the ring. If it is another Gods of Destruction duel, maybe everyone will be more or less interested. Because they have long been tired of watching, and they can even guess the general outcome. But this is the first game of Khan's first visit to the Gods of Destruction Summit, coupled with Khan's rhetoric before the game, so the gods and angels have a strong interest in Khan's strength. They also wanted to see if Khan really had the strength to match his swaggering tone. In the arena, Vermut stared at Khan with a sneer on his face. If I remember correctly, you said just now that you would step on our bones and climb to the top of the great Gods of Destruction altar, right? Before Khan could answer, Vermut sneered again. It's really arrogant, even Beerus dare not speak such nonsense. I really don't know where your self-confidence comes from. Khan said domineeringly. Confidence comes from strength. If I didn't even have this confidence, I wouldn't be standing here today. Also, I'm not Beerus, don't compare me to him. It is good. Vermut said confidently. Then let me completely destroy your self-confidence. This is the place where the most powerful gods of destruction of the universe will compete, not the place for a yellow-haired boy like you. Crush my self-confidence. Do you have the ability? The moment the words fell, raging, billowing purple energy flames erupted from Khan's body like a volcanic eruption. In the jet-like purple energy gas flame, there are continuous lightning arcs flickering, exuding destructive waves. Khan, who had a benevolent look just now, suddenly turned into a fierce look. Selfishness. Khan, under his self-importance, has an extra violent temperament of gods of destruction. Extreme ego. It turned out to be Dachung's self-importance. This kid has some skills. No wonder he dared to speak wildly. It turned out to be Dachung's self-will. It's really not easy to cultivate one's ultimate will to great success at a young age. Self-consciousness, everyone present at Gods of Destruction will know. And it's all Dachung's self-consciousness. But it took them a long time to learn self-intention back then, and Khan looked like he was only in his early 20s and 30s, but he was able to cultivate self-intention to great success. This talent alone is enough to instantly kill all gods of destruction present. This is the main reason for your surprise. It is not easy to practice self-intention and self-intention, even if you know its principle, but if you have distracting thoughts or low talent, even if you clearly tell you the combat concept and principle of self-intention. I'm afraid it will be difficult for you to learn self-consciousness too. Just like gods of destruction Topo, the candidate for the 11th universe, it is precisely because he cannot let go of justice that he cannot grasp the true self-will. Obviously, Khan's ability to exert his ultimate will so easily means that he has cast aside all distracting thoughts in his mind and focused on destruction. This guy, Beerus, has found a good successor. Looking at the self-absorbed Khan, Vermut hated iron for steel. If Topo had half the savvy and determination of Khan, he wouldn't have to worry so much. Although Khan is indeed crazy, Vermut also has to admit that Khan is indeed a good seed suitable for gods of destruction. Gods of destruction of the 11th universe, you were wrong, Mr. Khan is the student I am looking for, and has nothing to do with Lord Beerus. Whis narrowed his eyes slightly, and proudly said, in addition, it is worth mentioning that Mr. Khan's self-intention is self-taught, and I have not even taught him the concept and skills of self-intention. Nani. As soon as Whis said this, all the gods in the audience were shocked again. Is it possible to learn self-cultivation without a teacher, and even reach Dacheng? How is this possible? Are you kidding? This arrogant kid has such a talent. No wonder this man dares to be so arrogant. It turns out he is proud of himself. It's unbelievable that there are human beings who can learn their own mind without a teacher. If it's true, it's kind of scary. This news, like a blockbuster, exploded among the gods in an instant. If Khan really learned his own mind without a teacher, then they are really ashamed to find a hole in the ground. Because none of them learn self-consciousness by themselves. Compared with Khan, they really feel ashamed. If, in their eyes just now, Khan was a self-righteous arrogant guy, then now they have to admit that Khan does have the capital of arrogance. In terms of overall strength, Khan may not be as good as most of them in gods of destruction. But just relying on the fact that they can learn their own mind without a teacher is enough to blow them up. Hey, liar, is his self-consciousness self-taught? Champa's pupils widened in surprise, and he blinked in disbelief. Alice pushed her glasses, and analyzed objectively. Master Champa, I'm afraid it's hard to say. If it's fake then Whis doesn't need to kill Khan here to win first. Gulu. Champa swallowed hard, with cold sweat on his forehead. Although he was very reluctant to admit it, what Alice said did make sense. Whis doesn't need to praise Khan here at all, because in this way, if Khan is eliminated by Vermut in the first round later, Khan's defeat will be even more ugly. Obviously, since Whis dares to say this, it means that Khan's self-consciousness is really self-taught. Cut. It's just so-so. Quitella still felt disdainful. Even if Khan's self-consciousness is really self-taught, so what? Just relying on Dacheng's self-importance, he couldn't let him dominate the audience and win the crown at the Gods of Destruction Summit. No matter how high Khan is praised now, how much he will fall later. Is it self-taught without a teacher? It's interesting, dear. Margarita squinted her eyes slightly, raised her red lips slightly, and looked at Khan on the ring with interest. For some reason, she is now looking forward to Khan's performance. In the arena, the clown gods of destruction Vermut also re-examined Khan from the contempt just now. It is really terrible to learn the ultimate intention of oneself without a teacher. Instead of underestimating the enemy, it is better to pay attention now. Otherwise, if he loses later, where will his face as gods of destruction go? It is not that no gods of destruction candidate has come to the gods of destruction summit before, but there has never been a gods of destruction who has lost to a gods of destruction candidate at the gods of destruction summit. Vermut doesn't want to be the first. If he loses to Khan today, then he will be stared at the pillar of shame in the history of gods of destruction, and will be ridiculed by other gods of destruction for thousands of years. Immediately, raging, purple-black destructive energy gushes out, covering Vermut's whole body. He also opened up his own ultimate will, and also has the exclusive energy of gods of destruction, which is stronger than Khan's self-intention in terms of power and strength. The smell of gunpowder in the air intensified as Vermut also turned on his ego and destructive energy. Some moment, Khan and Vermut seemed to have a heart-to-heart connection, and the two moved almost at the same time. Call out! Call out! The two rushed in both directions, and met in the blink of an eye under the watchful eyes of the gods and angels. Boom! When the two met Setsuna, terrifying energy fluctuations swept out instantly. The entire arena vibrated violently at this moment. Immediately, the two touched each other. After stepping back a little, Khan blinked his purple pupils, and the flaming fighting spirit surged out. The last battle with Champa was really boring. I hope you can let me see how strong the upper limit of self-intention is. Tread. Khan stomped his feet and charged forward again. It will satisfy you. Undaunted, Vermut confronted Khan head-on. Bang bang bang. Both Khan and Vermut are extremely fast. They hit from the ring to midair, and then from the air to the ring. The aftermath of the terrifying battle continued to blast out, and the incomparably strong arena was already covered with cracks. Khan and Vermut's fighting style is almost the same, without any energy bombardment, and some are just extreme boxing in close combat. Under Vermut's destructive energy, Khan fell into a disadvantage for a while. Although it is also self-intentional, but Vermut has the blessing of destructive energy, so Khan suffered a little disadvantage in the confrontation. However, as the battle progressed, Khan's already raging fighting spirit grew even higher. As the fighting spirit rose, Khan's strength naturally continued to rise. Destroy. Vermut seized a flaw exposed by Khan's attack, raised his hand to Khan's chest, and it was a destructive attack dressed in a destructive force coat. 0. Boom. The explosion resounded and smoke and dust rose. Khan was knocked out of the air by Vermut's sabotage on the spot. Tread. After landing, Khan finally stabilized his body after plowing a scratch tens of meters long on the ring. Because of the damage Vermut had just rubbed, Khan's chest clothes were torn with a hole, exposing Khan's strong pectoral muscles. It seems that there is still a certain gap between the real gods of destruction. Looking at Khan, who was at a disadvantage, Alice couldn't help shaking her head. If Khan is given another 10 years to practice, she can basically conclude that there will be no gods of destruction opponents for Khan. Just now, in front of those old gods of destruction, Khan still looks a little immature. However, just when the gods thought that Khan was gradually getting weak, they saw Khan wipe off the dust on his face. Then he grinned, showing a chilling and crazy smile. Yes, that's the feeling. The stronger the enemy is, the more the Saiyan blood in my body will boil, so my fighting spirit will be infinitely high. Drink. Immediately afterwards, Khan exploded, and his aura surged again. A steady stream of energy pours into the Khan body. All the gods can clearly perceive Khan's almost linear skyrocketing power. Crazy. This guy is absolutely crazy. Call out. Under the watchful eyes of the gods, Khan turned into a black afterimage and took the initiative to attack again. A candidate is just a candidate after all. No matter how powerful they are, they will definitely not be able to defeat the real gods of destruction. When Khan rushed within 100 meters, Vermut's eyes suddenly widened. Grip. The next moment, Vermut clenched his fists tightly, and Khan, who was rushing towards Vermut at high speed, was suddenly imprisoned in midair by an energy sphere, which exerted terrifying gravity, seriously affecting Khan's actions. He couldn't even break through the energy sphere that imprisoned him for a while. After restricting Khan's movement, Vermut kept moving, and then bent his fist into a claw and swung suddenly. Whoosh! The dense energy flying cards formed by condensing destructive energy, like a bullet screen, instantly enveloped Khan, who was imprisoned in the energy sphere. Vermut, this guy has grown. 667, again. Quitella folded his hands on his chest. Shout and shout, Vermut's trick is not so good. Next. The other gods also watched this scene closely without speaking. How much difference there is between Khan and the real gods of destruction can basically be seen from this battle with Vermut. After a few seconds, Khan reappeared in the sight of the gods. I saw that Khan was still volleying in the air, his arms were crossed in front of his chest, and the clothes on his body were cut into holes, but there was no trace of blood. Nani. Seeing this, Vermut's eyes suddenly narrowed, and he secretly said in shock, "This kid's aura has actually increased again." His series of attacks just now failed to cause any considerable damage to Khan, but instead made Khan even stronger. Only this level of attack. Khan grinned and said excitedly, "It won't defeat me, it will only make me stronger." Boom. Khan once again exploded, and while his strength continued to increase, the purple energy flames had evolved into energy flames. Raging, the purple energy flames blazed and rushed towards Vermut. Vermut swept away the oncoming energy flames, "Then let me defeat you." Before he finished speaking, Vermut's voice stopped abruptly. At the same time as he swept away the energy flame, Khan's fist wrapped in the purple energy flame had already smashed towards his face. Puff! A punch from Khan in the front caused Vermut to tilt his head slightly back. While Vermut was stiff, Khan kept moving and kicked Vermut in the abdomen again. Who are you going to beat? As I said just now, I will step on your bones and climb to the top of the altar of the great gods of destruction. As Vermut fell from the sky, Khan chased after him at an even faster speed, landing hard with his knee on Vermut's throat. Suffering fierce attacks from Khan one after another caused Vermut to suffer certain injuries. As the gods of destruction, Vermut's power is undoubtedly very strong, but his defense is vulnerable. With Khan's knee pressed against his throat, Vermut's face instantly turned ferocious. Smug kid, don't really think I'm made of mud. Boom. A muffled sound came out almost simultaneously with Vermut's voice. I saw Vermut's right foot kicked heavily on Khan's back. However, to Vermut's desperation, his kick didn't even move Khan an inch. Immediately, Khan grabbed Vermut's heel with a backhand grab. The heel was grabbed, and Vermut suddenly felt bad. Immediately afterwards, Khan grabbed it directly. The dignified 11th universe gods of destruction, at this moment, was like rubbish. After Khan held his heels and spun a few times in the air, he slammed heavily on the ground of the ring. Bang bang bang. Khan held Vermut's heels and smashed it left and right for more than a dozen rounds, and Vermut was stunned by Khan. Seeing this brutal scene, the gods were dumbfounded. Finally, Khan slammed Vermut to the ground again, grabbing him by the collar as Vermut bounced off the ground. Immediately, under Vermut's horrified gaze, Khan's head banged hard. Clang! This iron head skill directly gave Vermut a whirlwind, staring at him. Do you think this is the end? No. After rewarding Vermut with an iron punch, Khan's big hand directly grabbed Vermut's face and slammed it on the ground of the ring. After a second, boom, violent energy explosions resounded, gravel splashed, and smoke and dust billowed. Silence. Deathly silence. The gods were dumbfounded. What is this riding on a horse? 1 second Vermut had an absolute advantage, but the next second Khan beat him like a sandbag. It's not beautiful. It's not beautiful. The second universe gods of destruction Hareth shivered all over his body, and said in disgust, such a cruel man is so unbeautiful. Watching this scene, Champa's psychological shadow came up again. Having played against Khan, he knew very clearly that Khan hadn't shown his true strength yet. If Khan under self-importance used the fighting method of constantly self-destructing, Vermut would have fallen down long ago. Vermut didn't even have the strength to fight back. It seems that the 7th universe, the candidate for gods of destruction, has some real skills. 12th universe gods of destruction Jin said. Shout. Quatella curled his lips and said, Vermut, you are too embarrassed, you can't even deal with a gods of destruction candidate, you are really a dog for gods of destruction. However, still, Quatella was upset to see Khan, a mere gods of destruction candidate, at the gods of destruction summit. But it was in Quatella's favor. If Khan loses in the first round, then he has no chance to clean up Khan himself. If you want to promote, suppress first, it belongs to yes. Makarita-san, it seems that there is really no suspense about the outcome. Whis couldn't help but returned exactly what Makarita had said just now. He has seen it. Under Khan's fierce attack just now, Vermut almost lost his fighting ability. Makarita smiled awkwardly but politely, and said, I miscalculated, the strength of this Mr. Khan is really impressive, dear. Woo woo woo. At the same time, the smoke and dust on the ring gradually dissipated. A bowl-shaped stone pit appeared in the sight of the gods and angels. Vermut was lying in the stone pit of the ring in a state of embarrassment, his face turned grim because of the pain, his clothes were torn, and there were still many gravels on his body. It has long since lost its prestige as gods of destruction. Tread, tread. Khan stepped forward and lifted Vermut up. In front of Khan's strong physique, Vermut is as weak as a weak chicken with no strength to restrain it. You, the clown, said you wanted to destroy my self-confidence. Vermut gritted his teeth, eyes full of unwillingness and said, fool. How? Sensing the unwillingness in Vermut's eyes, Khan couldn't help jokingly said, dignified gods of destruction, losing to me a gods of destruction candidate, does it make you feel ashamed? It's okay to feel ashamed. Vermut spoke boldly before the match, remained silent during the match, and babbled nonsense after the match. Whether Vermut's strength can pass Zhou Lian is a big question mark. Looking at the 12th universe gods of destruction, Vermut's strength is not much stronger, probably on the same level as Champa. In the beginning, Khan just put water on him and used him to improve his strength. He didn't really think he was strong, did he? No way, no way. Vermut, the clown gods of destruction, took the position of gods of destruction for only about 2.4 million years. Compared with the old gods of destruction such as Beerus, it is not a star and a half. If Champa hadn't been laziness and not paying attention to his diet, he would have put on a lot of weight. His strength could actually be ranked in the first echelon of the 12th universe gods of destruction. The reason why Champa's strength is also ranked at the end of the gods is mainly because of his physical strength. In terms of strength alone, Champa is definitely second to none. Laugh. No matter how unwilling Vermut was in his heart, he wanted to fight back against Khan, but he still had more than enough energy. His strength is already the bottom among all gods of destruction, and his defense is not in a mess. This is why Jiren dares to be called the strongest human being in the 11th universe, even surpassing gods of destruction. Jiren's strength may have surpassed Vermut, but in front of Beerus, he is just a brave man. Little god of the 11th universe, you have tried your best, you are no longer qualified to fight against me. Talking, Khan punched Vermut in the stomach again. The terrifying power instantly penetrated Vermut's body, forming a purple energy shockwave that pierced through Vermut's back. Puff! Vermut screamed again, and he flew upside down like a kite with a broken string. After drawing a perfect parabola in the air, Vermut fell straight out of the ring. The outcome is set. The gods were in an uproar. Originally, most of them wanted to see how Khan made a fool of himself, but he pretended to be. Still, just one of Vermut. Not enough to make the gods fear Khan. In the eyes of those old gods of destruction, Vermut is really the same as his image, a clown. So, in the eyes of the gods, winning Vermut is not much to brag about. It's really the same as your rhetoric before the game. Let's talk about being the champion of the Gods of Destruction Summit. Even Beerus, who is known as the strongest gods of destruction and has won the most Gods of Destruction Summit championships, dare not say that he can 100% win the Gods of Destruction Summit championship. As for a Gods of Destruction candidate, forget it. It is already very good to be able to pass the first round of the elimination system and enter the final round. Even if Khan loses in the final round and misses the championship, he has enough to prove himself. 7th Universe Gods of Destruction candidate Khan wins. The ethereal and sacred voice of the dragon god Salama sounded again, and the first game representing the summit of Gods of Destruction ended with Khan's victory. Khan stood on the spot, looked around the gods, and then he released his will to return to normal, and returned to the stone platform of the 7th Universe. Well done, Mr. Khan. Whis is not stingy with words of praise. As his student, Khan was able to shine at the Gods of Destruction Summit for the first time, which undoubtedly gave him a great deal of face. Fortunately, life is not humiliated. Khan said modestly. After all, you invited me here. If I am eliminated in the first round, I can't afford to lose this person. Whis smiled and said, Mr. Khan is as humble as ever. There have been Gods of Destruction candidates who have participated in the Gods of Destruction Summit before, but they all fell in the first round of elimination without exception. So, Mr. Khan, you are the first to reach the final round as a candidate for Gods of Destruction. Haha, I won the prize. With the end of the match between Khan and Vermut, the second match is about to begin. With a flash of purple gold light, the unrecognizable arena was restored to its original state due to the battle between Khan and Vermut. The second session of the first round of the Gods of Destruction Summit. In the second match, the 5th Universe Gods of Destruction Eric battles the 1st Universe Gods of Destruction IWNE. The second game begins. Whis reminded Khan, Mr. Khan, you can take advantage of this time to recover your strength. The final round will be held 5 hours after the end of the first round of elimination. Actually, I don't have much influence. With the existence of unlimited energy, Khan doesn't have to worry about energy and stamina at all. If he hadn't been severely injured in an instant, he would be an unbeatable Xiaoqiang. Coupled with the Super Blood Metamorphosis defense power, if you want to cause serious damage to Khan, you must at least completely crush Khan in terms of strength. Just like the Super Blue Gogeta crushing Broly in the movie version of Dragon Ball Super Broly. Bang bang bang, Eric and IWNE fought fiercely. The strength of the two seems to be comparable, evenly matched. For a while, it was hard to give up and fly, and the battle was extremely stalemate. The aftermath of the terrifying battle keeps rippling out, feeling the impact. Watching the battle between the two gods of destruction up close will also be of some benefit to Khan. While the others lack interest, Khan is carefully observing the battle between Eric and IWNE, not letting go of any detail of their battle. Boom! The two had a head-to-head fist fight in the air, and at the same time as the terrifying aftermath spread, the two of them were pushed back to the ground with the strength of their arms. Just at this time, a thought flashed through his mind, and Khan suddenly remembered it. It seems that I almost forgot about my system. Grass. I almost forgot about this. It's been an hour or two since I came to the big gods of destruction world, but I didn't sign in a daze. The special reward for signing in on Beerus is ego, so what about signing in the big gods of destruction world? With excitement and nervousness, Khan couldn't wait to say in his heart, "System, sign in at the big gods of destruction world." After a few seconds, the system finally responded. Ding! The host signs in the big gods of destruction world, and gets special rewards, immortality, advanced self-intention power. Immortal body. Finally here, Khan's eyes lit up when he heard about the body of immortality. All these years, what he has been waiting for is immortality. With an immortal body, Khan can basically be regarded as a complete body now. Immortal body, self-will, super bloodline, plus an infinite energy. As long as the opponent is not angel, how can you lose? With this immortal body, even if he can't pull out the big gods of destruction staff after winning the Gods of Destruction Summit Championship, then this trip to the Gods of Destruction Summit will be worthwhile. After the joy, Khan came back to his senses. What is this advanced self-intentional skill? Back to host. After a systematic explanation, Khan finally figured it out. To put it simply, the self-consciousness and the free-mindedness are the same, and both have 3 stages. The first stage of the self-extreme intention corresponds to the sign of the self-extreme intention. That is getting started. Dachung's self-consciousness corresponds to the form of the silver-haired self-consciousness Son Goku. And advanced self-extreme intention is the pinnacle of self-extreme intention. Compared with the Dachung self-extreme will, the power of the advanced self-extreme will is stronger, and the more the fighting spirit is burned, the power obtained is stronger than the Dachung self-extreme will. In a word, it is the perfect self-consciousness. Cattle. Bang bang bang. The battle between Eric and IWNE continues. There are constant energy fluctuations enough to destroy the universe, but it is just a child's play for the big gods of destruction palace built by the dragon god Salama himself. That's why the big gods of destruction palace can still stand at the gods of destruction summit that has persisted for nearly 2 million worlds, even intact. Finally, after several hours of fierce fighting, the 5th Universe Gods of Destruction Eric won the second match of the first round of the Gods of Destruction Summit. Khan also digested his immortal body and advanced self-intention during this time. In the third game, Champa will fight against the 3rd Universe Gods of Destruction Moscow. If it is a protracted battle, Champa will definitely lose. After the last battle with Khan, Champa clearly understood his shortcomings, so he chose a quick fight. In the end, Champa won by holding down Moscow. The winners of the remaining 3 games are the 4th Universe Gods of Destruction Quitella, the 2nd Universe Gods of Destruction Hareth and the 9th Universe Gods of Destruction Sidra. The first round of competition lasted for 2 full days and 2 nights. The first round of the 1,999,999th World Gods of Destruction Summit has come to a successful conclusion, and the final round will be the 2nd Universe Gods of Destruction Hareth, the 4th Universe Gods of Destruction Quitella, 5th Universe Gods of Destruction Eric, 7th Universe Gods of Destruction Candidate Khan. When the gods and angels followed the voice of the dragon god Salama and cast their eyes on the stone platform of the 7th universe, everyone was dumbfounded. I saw that Khan had already fallen asleep sitting on the stone platform, and was still grunting continuously. In an instant, all the gods were covered with black lines. Sleeping at the summit of Gods of Destruction, you're the first. The Gods of Destruction candidate, 7th Universe, is so defiant. No way. Gods of Destruction Summit is where he sleeps. Such people who don't understand etiquette must be severely punished. The gods spoke out and condemned Khan. Obviously, everyone can't understand the behavior of Khan sleeping here. Mr. Khan. Quote. Whis quickly woke up Khan. What? Khan, who was drowsy, was awakened instantly by Whis' shout. Seeing the gods staring at him with anger in their eyes, Khan seemed to realize something. He got up quickly and asked in a low voice, Whis, is this over? Yes, the first round of the Gods of Destruction Summit competition is all over. Whis nodded. That's it. Khan scratched his head and smiled awkwardly but politely. The battle between Gods of Destruction was interesting at the beginning, but gradually lost interest later on. In addition, Khan is still human after all, and not sleeping for a long time will seriously affect the mental state. I seem to have dreamed about that woman again just now. In the previous dream, Khan dreamed of the woman who had been appearing in his dreams before. In the dream, Khan still couldn't see her face clearly. I'm really sorry, my wife, I clearly said not to dream of her again. As early as the second day after marrying Vados that year, Khan vowed not to dream of that woman again, but the dream was beyond Khan's control. Over the years, he still often dreamed of that woman, and every time he woke up from the dream, Bingen felt a deep sense of guilt. I said, Gods of Destruction candidate of the 7th universe, you are too ignorant of etiquette. Is the Gods of Destruction Summit a place for you to sleep? At this time, Quitella's condemning voice came, which pulled Khan's thoughts back. He even dared to insult Beerus, let alone a candidate for Gods of Destruction. Coupled with the fact that Quitella and Khan have already formed a bridge just now, this will seize the opportunity, and naturally Quitella will not let Khan go easily. Huh, which dog is barking? Khan glanced at Quitella, and said angrily, so it's a mouse, it's none of your business if I sleep in my own home. Shouting, did I tell you that you haven't woken up yet? This is the palace of the great Gods of Destruction, not your home. Quitella sneered. Oh, that's it, Khan said lightly, maybe not now, but soon. HMPH, what a breath. For this, Quitella sneered and dismissed it. Beerus is not as crazy as you. If you can win this Gods of Destruction Summit Championship and pull out the big Gods of Destruction staff, I, Quitella, will read my name upside down. Quote. What, you're changing your name to Latque? Khan said with a meaningful smile. However, the name Latque sounds a little nicer. Why don't you change it to Mouse Tail Juice? What mouse? Tail Juice? Quitella didn't know much, but that didn't stop him from accepting Khan's bet, because he knew all too well how difficult it would be to pull out the staff of Gods of Destruction. He tried more than 300,000 times without success. Even if Khan was given a chance, would he be able to pull out the great staff of Gods of Destruction? Do not make jokes. Instead of pulling out the big Gods of Destruction staff at the first thought, it's better to go home and sleep and dream about everything. So, let alone a mere name, even if you bet your life with Khan, he dares to bet. Quitella folded his hands on his waist, and said, shouting, if you pull out the big Gods of Destruction staff, I can change my name to Rat Tail Juice, and if you lose, you have to change your name to Yellow-Haired Boy. How about it? Bet. No problem, Khan said with an inexplicable confidence on his lips, whoever loves the grandson. The name Wang Maozi fits well with his image of transforming into Xuanchao bloodline Chaoyi. You are totally worth it. Just bet, whoever loves whose grandson. Seeing that Khan was fooled, Quitella smiled sinisterly, and hurriedly said, the gods testify, whoever is willing to bet and refuses to admit defeat as a grandson. The other Gods of Destruction are willing to watch and eat melons, and even want to make fire. In their view, the probability that Khan can win is infinitely close to zero. You might as well just change your name to Yellow Boy. He, yellow-haired boy, he's kind of cute, dear. Makurita was actually amused. Cut. Vermut pouted. Why does his guide, Angel, seem to be interested in Khan? When the gods and angels are not optimistic about Khan, Whis has some confidence in Khan. If it's Beerus, he can't guarantee it yet. But okay, if it's Khan, maybe he can really pull out the big Gods of Destruction power. As long as Khan can emerge from this Gods of Destruction summit. That's why he brought Khan to this Gods of Destruction summit, isn't it? Okay, it's a deal. Quitella thought he was fooled. As everyone knows, in Khan's view, Quitella was fooled. He wants to learn how difficult it is to issue this big Gods of Destruction method. At the same time, the awe-inspiring voice of the dragon god Saraman once again resounded in the venue of the Gods of Destruction summit. The first round of the competition is over. everyone has a short rest, and after a while, the final round of this Gods of Destruction Summit will start. A chance to recognize the Lord. As the voice of the dragon god Salama fell, the big Gods of Destruction staff inserted on the golden platform of the big Gods of Destruction altar became even more dazzling. Call out. Immediately, a wave of divine power descended, and everyone in the venue disappeared instantly. After the first round of competition, it is free time. The gods can move freely in the great Gods of Destruction world, but they cannot destroy anything in the great Gods of Destruction world, including a flower, a grass, a tree or a tree. These are the rules of the Gods of Destruction Summit. Therefore, even if there is a big personal grievance between the two Gods of Destruction, during the break time of the Gods of Destruction Summit, they dare not fight in the big Gods of Destruction world. Under a towering tree, Khan and Whis took a break in a chair under a tree. Mr. Khan, do you have any countermeasures for the second round of the points system? Whis asked. He doesn't know whether Khan has the ability to make the great Gods of Destruction staff recognize the master, but he will do his best to send Khan to the championship of this Gods of Destruction Summit. In the second round of the point system, in addition to having strong personal strength, it also requires a certain amount of luck. Of course, personal strength still plays a big role. The countermeasure is to defeat the other 5 people at once. Khan said simply and rudely. Since it is a point system and each person only has one chance to challenge, 5 people must be challenged. Whis had black lines all over his head, and was taken aback when he heard it. Although it is good to have self-confidence, it should not be too inflated. Are you sure you can defeat 5 Gods of Destruction at once? Khan shook his head with a smile, and said, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure, but well, I like to challenge the limit. With his immortal body and unlimited energy, Khan is confident that he will be undefeated against the 5 Gods of Destruction alone, but there is still one thing to worry about, that is, if he falls off the ring, he will be sentenced to lose. Khan was worried that he would be attacked and knocked off the ring when he was under siege. Whispers. That's still too risky. Whis didn't quite approve of Khan's strategy, and challenged the other 5 Gods of Destruction in the second round. Beerus had never been so inflated back then. Because usually when it comes to the second round, everyone is seeking stability. Unless they are 1 or 2 points away from the championship, the group will take the risk of challenging multiple Gods of Destruction at once. Otherwise, generally no one would dare to be so reckless. Unless the strength is crushed, it is very dangerous to fight 1 against 2 with little difference in strength. One mistake can cost you all. Then tell me what your countermeasure is. My idea is this. According to Whis' idea, Quitella will definitely be the first to challenge Khan at the beginning of the second round. If Khan wins, he will get 1 point. And in this way, there are opportunities to challenge other players. In the case of obtaining 1 point in advance, retaining the opportunity to challenge oneself can greatly increase the chance of becoming the champion. If you lose, then Khan's points will be -1. It's not too late to venture out and challenge multiple Gods of Destruction. Generally speaking, Whis' strategy is to play conservatively and play steadily, so that the chances of winning the crown will be greatly increased. According to what Khan said, a slight mistake will lose everything. Okay. Then follow what you said, it will depend on the situation. Seeing that Khan agreed, Whis heaved a long sigh of relief. That's right, after all Gods of Destruction who can advance to the second round are not vegetarians, it's better to be conservative. In a blink of an eye. A tick of time is fleeting. After being trimmed, the 6 players who advanced to the second round have all adjusted their state to their peak state. A more intense and brutal second round is about to kick off. Welcome back. The final round of the 1,599,999,000 Gods of Destruction Summit is about to begin. The final round of this year's Gods of Destruction Summit is Khan, Champa, Quitella, Hareth, Eric and Sidra. The rules of the final round will not be repeated. Everyone has a chance to challenge. Start now. Silence. Deathly silence. Including Khan, none of the 6 players who advanced to the final round took the initiative to come to the stage, siege. With the exception of Khan, everyone is a veteran, and it is clear that the first person to challenge on stage will lose all advantages. Therefore, everyone is waiting for others to challenge themselves first. If you get 1 point in advance before you challenge yourself, then you have an absolute advantage. This is a psychological warfare. It depends on who can't hold back first. The other 6 gods of destruction didn't urge them either, because they also knew that the second round of points system was not only about strength, but also luck and psychology. In this way, 10 minutes passed. Cut. At this moment, Quitella couldn't hold back anymore. It seems that everyone is unwilling to challenge first, so let me throw bricks to attract jade. While speaking, Quitella had already entered the ring. Is it finally coming? The corner of Khan's mouth curled up in a subtle arc. If nothing else, Quitella's challenger must be himself. Seeing Quitella take the stage, the eyes of the gods turned to Khan. Presumably everyone has guessed who Quitella is going to challenge. As predicted, after stepping onto the ring, Quitella pointed directly at Khan, and said provocatively, "That yellow-haired kid from the 7th universe, dare to come down and fight against Master Quitella." Khan smiled meaningfully, "As you wish, dead." This is exactly what Khan wanted. And Khan also knows that there must be a battle between him and Quitella. Immediately, under the watchful eyes of the gods, Khan jumped onto the ring again. Quitella is just over a meter tall, and Khan is almost twice his height. In front of Khan, Quitella is no different from a 3-year-old child. So much so that Khan was looking down on him. Boom. Setsuna and Quitella, who were Khan on the stage, moved their bodies, and an incomparable terrifying aura pressed on Khan like Mount High. Still playing this little trick. Khan snorted disdainfully, and with a movement of his shoulders, he easily dispelled the aura exerted by Taylor. Before the battle officially started, the air was filled with a strong smell of gunpowder. Can smell gunpowder in the air. Quitella is not Vermut. This kid named Khan, if he can beat Vermut, he may not necessarily win Quitella. Well, as a Gods of Destruction candidate, it's pretty cool to beat a Gods of Destruction to advance to the final round, and there's no shame in losing to Quitella. Compared with Khan, the gods are more optimistic about Quitella. After all, Quitella's strength lies there. Both he and Beerus are frequent visitors of the Gods of Destruction Summit champions. This year, Beerus did not come to the Gods of Destruction Summit. If there is no accident, the championship should fall into the hands of Quitella. Just as other Gods of Destruction have their say on this battle between Khan and Quitella. Vermut's face was extremely gloomy. Obviously, he was a disgrace to the Gods of Destruction community for losing to Khan in the first round. Who lost the Gods of Destruction Summit to a candidate who has not yet officially become Gods of Destruction. It's him. Thinking that he would be the laughingstock of the gods in the next 10,000 years, Vermut's psychology gradually distorted. He actually started to hope that Khan had won. As long as he wasn't the only one who lost Gods of Destruction to Khan, then he wasn't fighting alone. Everyone has lost, why only laugh at me? In the arena. Khan and Quitella are over, the pre-game trash talk session. Immediately, Quitella's eyes gradually became fiercer, directly turning on the destructive energy in self-extreme mode. The burning destructive energy covering the surface of Quitella's body caused the surrounding space to gradually distort. Obviously, the energy intensity of Quitella is completely unmatched by Vermut. Quitella is not only strong in destructive energy, but his self-consciousness has also reached its peak, which is for advanced self-consciousness. Quitella transformed into a fighting form, and the expressions of all the gods present became serious. Quitella and Beerus can be called the twin stars of the 12 universe Gods of Destruction. In the previous Gods of Destruction summits, most of them were Quitella and Beerus who respectively won the championship of Gods of Destruction summits. Yellow-haired boy, my self-intention has reached its peak, and with your great self-intention, it is impossible to be my opponent for Quitella. Hee, whoever said it is not the same. Khan chuckled, and the terrifying aura of Japanese stocks, which was even stronger than before, erupted from Khan. Wisps of purple energy flames loomed. After 2 seconds. Boom! A purple energy flame with a height of several tens of meters erupted, and Khan instantly transformed into the ultimate self. Compared with when he was fighting Vermut just now, N's breath at this time has undoubtedly stepped up to a higher level. Khan, who was under the extreme intention of the advanced self, had a fierce face, which was a little more violent. It makes Khan look like the god of death from hell, which is chilling. How is this possible? Champa was stunned. Cold sweat continued to slide down his forehead, reflecting the shock in Champa's heart at the moment. Khan was clearly just a Dachung self-intention just now, and now he has broken through to an advanced self-intention in the blink of an eye. It's unbelievable. Now I believe what was said just now. His self-consciousness may really be self-taught. Even Alice, who is an angel, was deeply shocked. She has never seen anyone who can understand such a high level of self-consciousness. When fighting Vermut just now, Khan's self-extreme intention was clearly still at the stage of great success. How long has it been since he reached the peak? Is this Khan really a human being? How did his ego improve so quickly? The guy who can't see through. Monster-like guy. Give him a little more time. In time, his strength will definitely surpass Beerus. If he really becomes gods of destruction in the future, I'm afraid the name of the strongest gods of destruction will change hands. If it is said that Khan's self-intention just now only slightly surprised the gods. So now, they are shocked. Dacheng's ultimate self-intention wants to break through to the advanced self-intention. The difficulty is not ordinary high. It requires not only extremely high talent, but also unwavering belief and long-term accumulation of practice. Not to mention that in just 2 days, he broke through from Dacheng's self-extreme garden to advanced self-extreme intention. If it were them, it would be impossible to even think about it. But today they witnessed with their own eyes that a person's self-consciousness has been promoted from Dacheng to the peak of perfection in just 2 days. From this, we can get a glimpse of how shocked the hearts of the gods are. They stared at Khan on the ring with the eyes of monsters, and their eyes were full of shock and disbelief. In terms of talent and understanding, Mr. N is definitely the most suitable person I have ever seen to be gods of destruction. The 10th universe angel said so. Rumshi frowned, completely unable to refute Kessie's words. Even if the person he hates the most is Beerus, he has to admit that Khan is excellent. As his guide Angelx says, Khan is a better gods of destruction than any of them. But, would Khan really want to be gods of destruction? Or, will he really be content with being a mere gods of destruction? As Khan himself said, he came to participate in this Gods of Destruction summit because of the big Gods of Destruction staff. From the start, Khan made it clear what he was here for. He never concealed his ambition and even threatened to be the master of this great palace of Gods of Destruction in front of the gods. N is very ambitious, and his talent and understanding are even more amazing to the gods. But no one thought that even if Khan won the Gods of Destruction Summit Championship today, he would be able to pull out the great Gods of Destruction staff and let the great Gods of Destruction recognize the Lord. You yellow-haired boy, you are quite capable. Quitella was not afraid, but smiled excitedly. Things are getting more and more interesting. Really, Khan was also extremely excited. The Saiyan blood in my body is already boiling. Hey, let me see how much worse you are compared to Beerus. Call out. In the next moment, Yitra launched an attack without warning. He stepped into the void and appeared behind Khan in an instant, attacking Khan directly from behind. Call out. When Quitella's kick was about to hit Khan, Khan's figure disappeared instantly. Behind you. Khan's voice came from behind with a burst of wind. Quitella turned around suddenly, tapped the void with her toes, and avoided Khan's back blow at an extreme angle. Immediately afterwards, Quitella burst into anger, taking advantage of the gap between Khan's moves, and directly bullied him. Hey, yellow-haired boy, you've shown your flaws. Boom, a muffled sound followed. The gods took a closer look and saw that Quitella's fist was still 20 centimeters away from Khan's face, and Khan's fist hit Quitella's face firmly. Khan also grinned, and said sunnily, Hey, mousetail juice, your hands seem to be a little short. Thump. This punch directly sent the short Quitella flying. While Quitella was still flying upside down in the air, Khan chased him with an instant transmission, and Chen Sheng pursued him. But Quitella is not a vegetarian either. He and Beerus can be called the twin stars of Gods of Destruction, not for nothing. When being repelled, Quitella exploded, hovered in the air, and then punched out suddenly. Call out. Khan flew upside down, almost touching the ground. Yellow-haired boy, take my trick and try. Quitella raised one hand above his head, and a purple energy Qigong bomb containing destructive power quickly condensed. Immediately, Quitella threw out the Qigong bomb in his hand suddenly. The Qigong bomb hit the water at a super low altitude, and finally hit Khan accurately. Boom! The violent energy explosion affected half of the sky. Gunpowder smoke mixed with flames rose into the sky, demonstrating the terrifying power of this Qigong bomb. How's it going? I don't know. The eyes of the gods focused on the place where the gunpowder smoke rose into the sky. They wanted to know what happened to Khan. Moment. When the gunpowder smoke gradually dissipated, Khan's figure gradually emerged in the smoke. Chapter 71. Flutter. Khan patted the dust off his body. Didn't you eat? It's not good. A cold sweat slid down Quitella's forehead. Even Beerus couldn't take that blow unscathed. Khan did it. And looking at Khan's aura, there is still a steady upward trend. According to this situation, it is only a matter of time before he loses. It's unscathed. This guy seems to be stronger than when he fought Vermut. No, even if his strength is strong, it is impossible for Fufa to receive Quitella's attack without injury. I thought Khan was going to get a little bit of an injury, but after taking a Qigong bomb from Quitella, Khan didn't show any signs of injury. On the contrary, because of the 520 of the self-extreme characteristic, Khan absorbed part of the energy of Quitella's Qigong bomb and turned it into himself. That is, Quitella's blow just now not only failed to break through Khan's defense, but even made his strength a bit stronger. In this way, Master Vermut, you are not wronged, my dear. Makurita said. Vermut shrugged, noncommittal. Really? According to Khan's performance, it is indeed not wrong for him to lose to Khan. If it were him who played Quitella's Qigong bomb just now, he would have been seriously injured, not to mention unscathed. But Vermut doesn't think about it anymore, he just wants Quitella to lose too. Even if he wants to become a laughingstock, he has to pull a backer. Hey, Alice, this isn't right. Champa was surprised. Khan didn't seem to have such a strong defense when he fought with me last time. Alice pushed her glasses and said, Master Champa, you also said that that was the last time. Mr. Khan was only a great self-intention before, but now he is an advanced self-intention. You can't see Mr. Khan the same way you used to. Champa, it seems that there is nothing wrong with it. Khan, what kind of monster is he? At this time, Khan and Quitella had once again engaged in a fierce battle. Boom. In the arena, energy explosions resounded continuously, as well as battle clutter. The sturdy arena became devastated again because of the unbearable fierce battle between Khan and Quitella. At first, whether in terms of strength or speed, Khan is not as good as Quitella. However, with the blessing of immortality and infinite energy, Khan took the initiative to block all kinds of attacks of Quitella, even those that could be easily avoided. Khan took the initiative to block them. Khan's seemingly desperate fighting style directly stunned Daitra and the gods. Although it is true that self-extreme will can transform the attacks it endures into energy for itself, theoretically speaking, there is no upper limit to the power of self-extreme will. But everyone's physical fitness and endurance have limits. So, if it is not necessary, gods of destruction will not deliberately take the opponent's attack. But Khan is different. Khan responded to Quitella's attacks in all kinds of fancy ways, and he didn't even show any fatigue or injury. The gods couldn't help but wonder if Khan was really a monster. As the battle progressed, Khan's fighting spirit rose wildly, and his strength also increased. Soon, Khan gradually moved from the downwind to a tie with Quitella. Half an hour later, Khan's power really surpassed Quitella's and began to counterattack. Boom, boom, boom. After starting the counterattack, Khan's offensive became more and more fierce, and Quitella could hardly parry it. In the battle just now, he had consumed a lot of energy. In addition, the strength was surpassed by Khan, so in the face of Khan's fierce attack, Quitella was gradually unable to do what he wanted. See here, although the winner has not yet been officially determined, in the eyes of the gods, Quitella has actually lost. And how could Quitella, who is the person involved, be unaware of his own situation? It's just that he can't accept losing to Khan. Puff. After a fierce attack on Quitella, as Khan finally finished with a left jab, Quitella, who was almost smashed into a pig's head, flew backwards screaming. In the end, he fell heavily on the gravel-strewn arena. Destroy. Boom. As Khan's understated words fell, the ground of the arena with Quitella as the center suddenly exploded. The terrifying power shook the entire arena. At the center of the explosion, a burst of smoke and dust 100 meters high was raised. It's hard to see where Quitella is today. At this moment, Whis on the 7th Universe stone platform showed a meaningful smile. This time, the winner should be decided. Woo woo woo. A long time. The smoke and dust gradually dissipated, and there was a big pit with a radius of 100 meters. Quitella, who was seriously injured, was lying in the deepest part of the pit. His face was covered with scars, and his breath was weak. It is impossible to get up again. Looking at the almost half-dead Quitella, the gods took a deep breath. Before this, no one thought that Quitella, who is also known as the twin star of gods of destruction with Beerus, would lose so ugly. Even against Beerus, Quitella has never lost so badly. Because, not only was Khan unhurt, but he was kicked up a notch. The 4th universe gods of destruction Quitella is incapacitated, and the 7th universe gods of destruction candidate Khan wins. Khan earns 1 point, Quitella deducts 1 point. Confirming that Quitella has no power to fight anymore, the dragon god Salama, who is far away in the dragon god realm, announced the defeat of Quitella. The gods fell silent as the dragon god Salama declared Quitella's defeat. Until this moment, they finally understood that Khan is not a simple-minded idiot, but the darkest dark horse in this Gods of Destruction Summit. It was the first time I participated in the Gods of Destruction Summit, and I entered the final round with a sudden emergence. And defeated Vermut and Quitella one after another with an absolute advantage. According to this development, I am afraid that Khan will realize what he said before the game. Tread on your bones, to the top of the altar of the great gods of destruction. When Khan's infinitely arrogant and domineering words sounded again in the minds of the gods, the scalps of the gods all burst open. According to the current situation, not surprisingly, Khan may really become the first person in history to participate in the Gods of Destruction Summit as a Gods of Destruction candidate, win the crown, and climb to the top of the Gods of Destruction altar. This moment, the gods finally re-examined Khan with equal eyes. It would be foolish for them to look at Khan with superior eyes after Khan defeated Khan strongly. Obviously, even if a person who can become gods of destruction is not very smart, he will not be so stupid. Just when the gods were deeply shocked by Khan, I saw Khan suddenly turned his head, his sharp eyes swept across Champa, Hareth, Eric and Sidra. Now, it will be up to me to challenge. Champa, Hareth, Eric, Sidra, dare to accept my challenge and fight with me. Earth, Magnum Capsules Inc. Tonight, the night sky in Western Capital is shrouded in layers of dark clouds, just like Bulma's mood. On the second-floor platform, Bulma propped her chin, feeling a little depressed. My husband has been away for 2 days, when will he come back? I think it should be soon. Vados was more optimistic, and said with a smile, maybe, I'll be back tomorrow. Vados is not as depressed as Bulma is because she knows where Khan has gone. Centennial Gods of Destruction Summit. At first, she was wondering why Whis was suddenly looking for Khan, but after careful calculation, it was 100 years since the last Gods of Destruction Summit. Isn't it time for Gods of Destruction's 100-year Gods of Destruction Summit? If correct, Whis should have taken Khan to the Gods of Destruction Summit. Khan can be on such a big stage, Vados is naturally happy for Khan. Regardless of whether Khan can stand out at the Gods of Destruction Summit, this trip to the Gods of Destruction Summit will greatly increase Khan's experience. Immediately, Vados also raised his eyes to look at the night sky. A glamorous smile floated on his vermilion lips. Honey, I hope you can achieve good results in the 10th Gods of Destruction Summit. If only Khan could win this year's Gods of Destruction Summit and let the big Gods of Destruction staff claim his master. Although Vados also knows that this is almost impossible. It's okay to be the champion of the Gods of Destruction Summit, but it's not so difficult for the big Gods of Destruction staff to recognize the owner. It can be said that at the current level of Gods of Destruction, wanting to recognize the master of the great Gods of Destruction staff is like a wealthy lily on the list of young writers who have hit the streets, and since then they have reached the pinnacle of life and no longer have to write novels. Certain difficulty. Xeno Palace. Grand Priest is holding a large angel long staff, and a picture is emerging on the crystal ball at the top. It's the Gods of Destruction Summit that's happening in the big Gods of Destruction world. It seems that the champion of this year's Gods of Destruction Summit has been announced. For the first time to participate in the Gods of Destruction Summit, Gods of Destruction beat the crowd to win the championship. For Khan, a human being, it is already very good. For Khan, the son-in-law, Priest Yin gradually became satisfied. If Khan can make the big Gods of Destruction staff recognize the Lord, then he thinks he will really recognize Khan as the son-in-law. After all, as a human being, no matter how powerful he is not worthy of Vados as an angel. If you want the great gods of destruction staff to recognize its owner, it does not rely on great strength, nor does it depend on conditions such as talent or potential, but great palace of gods of destruction. Khan's imposing voice resounded throughout the venue. Domineering, enduring, challenge 4 gods of destruction at the same time in the final round, unprecedented. Not to mention the final result, just this courage is enough to convince people. After Khan defeated Quitella, the gods did not dare to ridicule Khan again when he uttered such arrogant words. Instead, I was deeply impressed by Khan's confidence and courage. This is the case in the world of Dragon Ball. The strong are respected. If you want people to look up to you, you need to show convincing power. This is especially true in the system of gods ruled by Zeno. Take the simplest example. Gods of destruction and Supreme Kai have a symbiotic relationship at the same level, but have you seen that Beerus has seen the Supreme Kai of the 7th universe? The old Supreme Kai Peter Toro was even sealed in the Supreme Kai sword for 75 million years because he angered Beerus, and he hasn't released it yet. In the original book, Beerus even treats Shin as a younger brother. These are all status gaps brought about by great power. Are you going to challenge 4 gods of destruction at once? Makarita said with interest. I hope you don't capsize in the gutter, dear. As for the 4 Champa who were challenged by Khan, they couldn't believe their ears. What is Khan saying? Want to challenge the 4 of them? Is your kid going to heaven? In the past so many gods of destruction summits, strong players like Beerus and Quitella have never challenged 4 gods of destruction at once, and have always won steadily. We seem to be underestimated, it's time to teach him a lesson. 5th Universe Gods of Destruction. Eric narrowed his eyes slightly. He does not deny that Khan is very strong, but to challenge the 4 gods of destruction at the same time, it is a bit overconfident. Hey, what do you say? Champa Kanji also 3 gods of destruction. None of the Champas think they can beat Khan if they go it alone, but not necessarily if they join forces. Tread. The 2nd Universe Gods of Destruction. Hareth took the lead on the ring. As gods of destruction, I can't be underestimated by a gods of destruction candidate. Eric and Sidra also took the stage one after another. They have the same thoughts as Champa. Going it alone, they will never be Khan's opponents. If Khan chooses to play steadily, then the champion of this Gods of Destruction summit can basically be reserved for Khan. But now Khan is threatening to challenge all 4 of them at once. This gives them a chance to reverse the situation. As long as they can defeat Khan, they will each get 1 point, and it will be hard to say who will win the championship. Immediately afterwards, Champa also entered the ring. The 4 of them formed a fan shape, facing Khan in a 2-way confrontation. Khan, if you only challenge 1 person, you might be the champion of this Gods of Destruction summit. Champa smiled sinisterly. Clearly, Champa was laughing at Khan's overreach. The man named Khan, you should be very clear, if you lose, your points will become -3. Hareth then said. Of course I know, how could Khan not be clear about this point? If he loses, the points will become -3, and he will completely miss the championship. Only, what kind of waves do you think 4 people can make by working together? Khan stretched out a hand and said confidently, 5 minutes, within 5 minutes, if there is still one of you standing on the ring, or not falling down, I will lose. As soon as this remark came out, everyone in the audience was shocked. This can no longer be called arrogance, it is arrogant. Beat 4 gods of destruction team-ups in 5 minutes. Dare you blow it any harder? Regardless of whether Khan is defiant or really has this confidence. The ruthless words have been released, and after 5 minutes, if there are still people standing on the ring or not falling down, if Khan does not take the initiative to admit defeat, then he will be pushed to the forefront in an instant, and he will be branded as an infamy that does not count for words. Forever. I really can't do anything about you. I said I should be conservative, but I'm still so impulsive in the end. Whis also rubbed his forehead with a headache. Originally, it was sure to win the championship of this year's Gods of Destruction Summit if it was steady, so that's it. The cruel words have already been thrown out, and Khan just wants to take them back. Now, he can only hope that Khan really has this self-confidence, rather than impulsive. In the arena, the battle is imminent. Champa, Hareth, Eric, and Sidra looked at each other. Then the four of them surrounded Khan in a four-sided manner. Do you think four people can become a success together? Khan is unafraid. He stomped his feet, and the billowing purple energy flames swept in all directions like a fire dragon, exuding destructive waves. The faces of Champa's four changed dramatically. Because above the purple energy flame, they felt a dangerous breath. Immediately, the four of Champa didn't dare to make a big deal, and retreated violently. Next second, Khan rushed out of the purple energy flame and came straight to Champa. Asshole, why me? There are obviously four people, why did you pick me to fight? With a teasing arc on the corner of Khan's mouth, he said, Paramans, you have to be soft. Laugh. Champa's eyelids twitched fiercely, and he said angrily, stop looking down on people. Then Champa gritted his teeth, clenched his claws into a fist, and slammed his fist at Khan's face angrily. Khan didn't even dodge, and also punched him head-on. Boom. Two fists collide. The terrifying power from Khan's fist made Champa's arm numb, and then fell from midair to the ring at a 40-degree angle. There is a flaw. While Khan fought off Champa, Eric and Sidra attacked Khan from behind. Call out. When Khan fell from the sky, an arrow with destructive power carried a long purple tail flame and shot at Khan's back with the momentum of thunder. When the arrows with destructive power came, Khan suddenly exploded and hovered in the air, then tapped the void with his toes, and swept up again. The arrow fired by gods of destruction Hareth also missed. As I said just now, within 5 minutes if there are still some of you standing on the ring, or if you haven't fallen down, I will lose. Looking down at the four Champas below, Khan's purple pupils flashed sharply, I won't play with you anymore, I will finish you all at once. Bluff. Eric disagrees. Take out all four of them at once, gods of destruction. What a big deal. If it's a fight to the death, it's hard to say who will win. But 5 minutes, how is this possible? No matter how good the four of them are, they cannot all be defeated within 5 minutes. After all, they are gods of destruction. They are the ceilings of their respective universes, the supreme rulers. It's really hard to pinch them as mud. Therefore, in the eyes of the Champa Four, Khan has lost. The rest of gods of destruction are also holding the mentality of watching the show. They also want to see how Khan can defeat the Champa Four at once. Not even Beerus and Quitella can do it. Although Khan did defeat Quitella just now, it doesn't mean that he already has the powerful strength to instantly kill four gods of destruction. Khan didn't explain much, just flashed a chilling smile. Immediately afterwards, Khan stretched out his hands and volleyed at the four of Champa below. The endless purple energy quickly condensed, forming a high-speed rotating purple energy vortex in Khan's palm. Above the purple energy vortex, there are extremely terrifying energy fluctuations. And this energy fluctuation is still increasing, which means that N is still pouring energy into this energy vortex. Boom! In the next second, this purple energy vortex suddenly exploded. A purple energy vortex with a diameter of several meters appeared in the sight of the gods. What kind of trick is this? What a terrifying energy! Is there no limit to his strength? Is this guy really just a candidate for gods of destruction? The faces of the gods changed drastically, and they stared at Khan in disbelief. Just feeling the fluctuations emitted by the purple energy vortex made the gods feel scalp numb. Not to mention picking up Khan himself. They couldn't imagine how a mere candidate for gods of destruction could possess such terrifying power. In the arena, under the purple energy vortex with a diameter of several meters, all four of Champa felt an extremely dangerous atmosphere. And unparalleled pressure. Champa's forehead was dripping with cold sweat, and he said in a deep voice, it seems that this kid is really planning to get rid of us all with one move. It is undeniable that this force is very strong, but if the four of us join forces, the outcome is hard to say. Eric put his hands on his back and narrowed his eyes slightly. It is impossible for any of them to take Khan's move. But with the four of them joining forces, there are a few more possibilities. There is no other way at the moment. Sidra looked dignified, as if facing a formidable enemy. If Khan's move fails, they will have no way out and can only fight against Khan. Either lose or win. Buzz buzz. The purple energy vortex rotating at high speed caused the surrounding space to appear extremely distorted. There are also dark red lightning flashes constantly on it, which is shocking. Khan stood in the air, looking down at the four of Champa from a high position. If you can take this move, I will automatically admit defeat. In order to avoid falling out of the ring due to a sneak attack, Khan did not intend to fight with Champa and the others. In close combat, even if you are immortal, you can fight the Champa 4 head-on without losing, but if you are attacked and fall out of the ring, it would be ridiculous. So from the very beginning, that's what Khan intended. A direct confrontation ends the battle. Either they lose or they lose. Next second, Khan's eyes froze suddenly, and a very imposing voice resounded throughout the venue. Come on, let's decide the outcome. Space Annihilation Cannon. Boom. Accompanied by Khan's deep shout, a 3-meter diameter Space Annihilation Cannon surrounded by dark red lightning blasted out. The Space Annihilation Cannon pierced the space, and the space around it was shattered wherever it passed. A shocking space crack is left along the way. The Space Annihilation bombarded Setsuna, and all the gods present gasped in horror. Even Zoo Angel frowned. Let's fight together, we have no way out. Sidra shouted loudly, pulling the 3 of Champa back from the shock. This moment got Zhao. Only then did the 3 of Champa realize that Khan's Space Annihilation Cannon was heading for them. This fool, Khan, actually hid such a trick. Under the terrifying pressure of the Space Annihilation Cannon, Champa's face completely darkened. He didn't expect Khan to hide such a nirvana, and he hid it so securely. To use it at this time, for them, it is simply King Bomb. In the next second, Champa didn't have time to think too much, and quickly blasted out a burst of destructive energy, which merged with the destructive energy of Sidra and the other 3 in midair. The 4 destructive energies converged to form a more powerful destructive energy whose diameter overwhelms the Space Annihilation Cannon head-on. It's too late to say it. Just a blink of an eye. The Space Annihilation Cannon issued by Khan, and the destructive energy blasted by the 4 gods of destruction of Champa together, meet as shocking as sparks hit the earth. Boom. The Setsuna where the 2 energies collided, a loud noise exploded like thunder. Boom. Setsuna collided with the Space Annihilation Cannon and destructive energy, and a terrifying shock wave capable of destroying the universe swept the entire venue. The angels on the stone platform opened their energy shields one after another to avoid being directly impacted by this shock wave. Inside the protective cover, the eyes of the 7 gods of destruction and the 12 angels are all focused on the intersection of the 2 energies, and the purple-black radiance shines on the entire venue. Kyla, Kyla. As the 2 energies eroded each other, violent lightning flickered continuously. For a while, there was a stalemate. It's deadlocked. Can you compete with the 4 gods of destruction with your own strength? What a terrifying guy. When did the humans of the 7th universe become so strong? Seeing this appalling scene, cold sweat gradually broke out on the foreheads of the gods. Khan, who is only a candidate for gods of destruction, can already rival 4 gods of destruction. If he is really allowed to become gods of destruction, coupled with the blessing of the power of destruction. I'm afraid that when 11 of them play gods of destruction together, it may not be Khan's alignment. Boom. The arena was mid-empty, and the 2 energies were still engaged in a fierce confrontation. You push me to block, very fierce. Hey, it's not good to go on like this, increase your strength. At present, none of the 4 of them have achieved a clear advantage when they teamed up, so Champa became anxious. Stop talking nonsense, I'm adding. Eric gritted his teeth, now is not the time to be lazy. Although the 4 of them have their own little thoughts, but in front of the common enemy, they don't dare to hold back anymore. They draw out all the destructive energy in their bodies and pour them in continuously. With the 4 of Champa no longer holding hands, the stalemate was broken. The Space Annihilation Cannon actually began to shrink at a speed visible to the naked eye. The situation has changed. Seeing this scene, the gods tensed up even more physically and mentally, holding their breath. Humph. Go back to me. Boom. With Khan's uninterrupted injection of energy, the Space Annihilation Cannon swelled a circle, and at the same time stabilized the original disadvantaged situation, and there were faint signs of pushing back. This situation of you coming and going lasted for several minutes. The aura of the 4 elephants CJEG Pa has gradually become sluggish, which means that the energy in their bodies has almost been exhausted. Look at Khan again. Not only did the aura not drop, but it was even stronger than before. Some moment, there was a faint light in Khan's purple eyes, and he shouted, "It's over." Boom. The moment the words fell, the space annihilation cannon expanded again, and the energy fluctuations contained in it reached a new height again. It has surpassed the combined destructive energy of the four gods of destruction of Champa. Then, the gods were shocked to see that Khan's space annihilation cannon pushed back the destructive energy wave blasted by the four gods of destruction of Champa at a speed visible to the naked eye. The space annihilation cannon grew bigger and bigger in the eyes of the four Champas, and gradually covered the four Champas with a look of despair. At this moment, they already knew that they had lost. 10 seconds later, the space annihilation cannon completely defeated the destructive energy, and fell on the four of Champa. The four of Champa could see in despair that every time the space annihilation cannon fell, the space along the way collapsed inch by inch. The breath of death lingers in my heart. If the front is hit by this space annihilation cannon, they will have no bones left. On the nick of time, the ethereal and sacred voice of the dragon god Salama resounded through the venue again. Champa, Eric, Hareth, Sidra lost, Khan won. Khan gets 4 points, Champa, Eric, Hareth, Sidra deduct 1 point each. Immediately afterwards, a 9-color light containing the supreme dragon power came through the space, shining on Khan's space annihilation cannon. Under the illumination of the 9-color light, the space annihilation is invisible at a speed visible to the naked eye. The broken space was also quickly repaired. Until the moment they were rescued, the four of Champa were still haunted by death, unable to recover for a long time. Unexpectedly, the dragon god Salama Sama actually made a move himself. Hey, this is the first time in so many gods of destruction summits. Sir Salama, the dragon god, personally took action, the kid from the 7th universe. It's really impressive. Almost everyone did not expect that the dragon god Salama would personally make a move. In the 1,999,998 gods of destruction summits held in the past, none of them reached the point where the dragon god Salama needed to take action. Moreover, if the dragon god Salama hadn't made a timely move just now, I'm afraid that the four of Champa would not even have any scum left. Now, no one dared to doubt Khan's arrogant words before the game. If it weren't for the dragon god Salama, Khan might have stepped on the bones of the four Champas and climbed to the top of the altar of the great gods of destruction. Call. Until this moment, Khan breathed a sigh of relief. Back to the ring, Champa and the others also came back to their senses. Just now, it seems that the dragon god Salama saved them. Otherwise, they would be Khan's ghosts by now. Looking at Khan again, the eyes of the four of Champa were filled with deep fear. This guy really dares to be cruel. A long time. Eric sighed for a long time, and said with a depressed face, "Young people are better than blue, I abstain. It seems that I have no chance, so I will abstain." Sidra also abstained accordingly. "TCH, I will give you the championship this time." Champa snorted arrogantly, then fled back to the stone platform of the 6th universe. Including 1 point from the victory over Quitella just now, Khan now has a total of 5 points. With such a large score gap, it is meaningless to continue the next 4 games. Several people in Champa knew very well that they had no chance to surpass Khan again. Although there were only 2 challenges in the final round, the champion of this year's Gods of Destruction Summit has been announced. Now, with 5 points in his hand, Khan, who is superior to the 5 players in Quitella, has undoubtedly become the focus of attention of the audience. Finally, we haven't lost the face of our 7th universe. Looking at Khan standing in the middle of the ring like a king, Whis couldn't help but have a look of pride and satisfaction on his face. How many times has Beerus stood in the position of champion after being the champion? But Khan now is more dazzling than Beerus at that time. In the final round, they climbed to the top with a huge advantage of 5 points, directly breaking the points record for the final round of nearly 2 million Gods of Destruction Summits. This champion is well deserved. This should be the first highlight moment in Mr. Khan's life. It really makes people's hearts surge and blood boil, dear. Makarita's beautiful eyes stared at Khan's back, and a flash of light flashed by. If other Gods of Destruction won the championship of this year's Gods of Destruction Summit, then she still feels nothing. However, Khan, as the candidate of Gods of Destruction, became the darkest dark horse of this Gods of Destruction Summit. No one competes with it. This has never happened in previous Gods of Destruction Summits. This is an unprecedented time. There is no one before, and it is estimated that there will be no more comers in the follow-up. At the same time, the 1,999,999th Gods of Destruction Summit ended successfully. The Gods of Destruction candidate Kakong from the 7th universe won the championship of this Gods of Destruction Champion Summit. As the voice of the dragon god Salama fell, the gods and angels on the stone platform bowed to Khan one after another. To show respect to the champion of this Gods of Destruction Summit, Khan took a deep breath, then looked in the direction of the 7th universe stone platform, smiled slightly at Whis, and said, "Fortunately, we didn't embarrass our 7th universe." Whis also gave a slight glance, and cast a look of admiration and appreciation towards Khan. Whoever wins the championship will have a chance to recognize the Lord without Gods of Destruction. Thump thump. A staircase glowing with sacred purple gold light stretched from the edge of the arena to the large altar of Gods of Destruction directly behind the arena. It is like a celestial road at the apex of the universe, which makes people awe-inspiring. This year's champion, Khan, the 7th universe Gods of Destruction candidate, please follow the steps to the top of the great Gods of Destruction altar. Call. Taking a deep breath and adjusting his nervousness slightly, Khan looked up at the big Gods of Destruction altar on the top of the stairs, and there was a touch of fire in his eyes as dark as the night sky. Great staff of Gods of Destruction, I am coming. After the words fell, Khan took a big step and stepped onto the first step of the purple gold ladder. The gods tense as Khan steps up the steps to the great altar of the Gods of Destruction. As a newcomer who participated in the Gods of Destruction Summit for the first time, he swept the major Gods of Destruction Summits all the way as a dark horse and won the championship of this Gods of Destruction Summit. It has to be said that Khan's performance at this Gods of Destruction Summit was indeed outstanding. But it is as difficult as climbing the sky to make the great Gods of Destruction staff recognize its master. Although most people don't think that Khan can make the big Gods of Destruction staff recognize the owner, but before the final result comes out, no one dares to be sure. Because they've been slapped enough by Khan just now. Shout, yellow-haired boy, if you have the ability, you really pull out the big Gods of Destruction staff and recognize the Lord, otherwise I will call the name of yellow-haired boy away. Although Khan really exceeded everyone's expectations, he won the crown of this year's Gods of Destruction Summit. But Quitella still doesn't think Khan has the ability to make the great Gods of Destruction staff recognize the master. He has tried more than 300,000 times, and he knows how difficult it is. The most important and crucial point is that he made a bet with Khan before that, if Khan really let the big Gods of Destruction staff recognize the owner, then he has to change his name to Rat Tail Juice. Quitella didn't understand the meaning of the name, but it didn't sound like a good name either. Tread. With Khan's feet off the last piece of the purple gold stairway, officially ascend the great Gods of Destruction altar. This moment, an incomparable divine coercion struck, causing Khan's face to change, and he had an urge to kneel down. Not simple. Khan's eyes narrowed slightly, knowing that it would not be an easy task for the great Gods of Destruction staff to recognize its master. Otherwise, it would not be his turn to try. Among the nearly 2 million Gods of Destruction summits in the past, Gods of Destruction, the previous champion, has long been given the upper hand. After taking a deep breath, Khan continued to walk along the steps of the altar. Climb to the top of the great Gods of Destruction altar. Gazing closely at the large staff of Gods of Destruction inserted in the pure gold stone platform, Khan felt a strong sense of awe in his heart, almost making him want to kneel down and worship. The purple gold light emitted from the big Gods of Destruction staff is even more dazzling. Shining brightly. Sure enough, gazing at the large staff of Gods of Destruction bursting with purple gold light, Khan's eyes became more and more fiery. Just as Khan ascended the summit of the great Gods of Destruction altar. Zeno Palace. The Grand Priest is watching Khan, who has ascended the altar of the great Gods of Destruction, through the great angel staff. Great staff of Gods of Destruction. Grand Priest said to himself. The way to make the great Gods of Destruction staff recognize its master does not require great strength, but a self-centered heart and a firm will. Khan, I wonder if you have the potential to become the master of the great Gods of Destruction staff. Simply put, in Setsuna holding the big Gods of Destruction staff, the big Gods of Destruction staff will release a supreme divine coercion. Under this supreme divine coercion, the willpower is not firm enough, and will kneel down on the spot, surrender to the great staff of Gods of Destruction. For in the eyes of the great gods of destruction staff, those who try to make it recognize their masters are all insects, crawling and trembling under my supreme coercion. Unless you can withstand the supreme coercion released by the big gods of destruction staff, and surpass the big gods of destruction staff in momentum, and firmly believe that you are its master, only then is it possible for the big gods of destruction to let the big gods of destruction, the staff of destruction, surrendered willingly. And it's only possible to have the great gods of destruction staff recognized as Lord. Of course, it is really too difficult to resist not surrendering under the supreme pressure of the big gods of destruction staff, keep a clear mind, and surpass the big gods of destruction staff in terms of momentum. Otherwise, the Gods of Destruction Summit would not have held so many sessions. Hey, I can guarantee that as soon as this yellow-haired boy holds the big Gods of Destruction staff, he will be so suppressed by the coercion released by the big Gods of Destruction staff that he can't even lift his head. Quitella gloated. He seemed to have seen the end of Khan. This is what happened to him when he won the Gods of Destruction Summit for the first time. After trying more than 300,000 times, Quitella still can't overcome the coercion of the big gods of destruction staff, because the coercion released by the big gods of destruction staff is too terrifying. In the face of the supreme coercion of the great staff of gods of destruction, Quitella felt as small as an ant. Although it failed more than 300,000 times, this did not stop Kuishi's fanatical pursuit of the great gods of destruction staff. He always believed that one day he would be able to conquer the great staff of gods of destruction and make him willingly recognize the Lord. Call. Next second, Khan took a step forward, and then stretched out his strong right palm, under the gaze of the gods, angels, and Grand Priest. He suddenly grasped the great staff of gods of destruction inserted on the pure gold stone platform on the top of the altar of gods of destruction. With Setsuna holding the large staff of gods of destruction, Khan's mind went blank for an instant. His people are still in the great palace of gods of destruction, but his consciousness has long drifted to a void. In front of it is a black shadow that seems to run through the sky and the earth, covering the sky and the sun. He is high above, as if he is the supreme existence in this world. The terrifying coercion emanating from it made the world eclipsed by it. Are you the ant who came to challenge me this time? Kneel down. Boom. The incomparably terrifying coercion that made people tremble, instantly acted on Khan. Thump. Suppressed by the supreme coercion, Khan instantly felt as if he was being crushed by a mountain, and immediately knelt down on one knee. Under this supreme coercion, Khan could clearly feel that even his soul was trembling violently, as if he was afraid of this supreme terrifying existence. Ants who don't know how to live or die, get out. Seeing that Khan was already kneeling on the ground, Sombra seemed to have lost interest. You say, who will let it go? Suddenly, Khan's head, which was deeply pressed because of the supreme coercion exerted on him, raised it up again, trembling slightly. I saw the blue veins on Khan's face and forehead bursting out, making Khan look extremely hideous. Only, at the corner of Khan's mouth, there was a confident arc. He forcibly carried the supreme coercion emanating from the black shadow, exerted all his strengths, and finally raised the head that had been deeply lowered. Khan raised his head again and looked at the black shadow running through the sky and the earth. There was no fear in his eyes, as black as the night sky. It is an unwavering will and self-confidence. When he first felt this supreme pressure, Khan found himself trembling. It was trembling of fear. Fear from the depths of the soul. But soon, Khan figured it out. At the beginning, even when facing the Grand Priest, he didn't feel any fear, but the reason why he feels fear now is because this black shadow running through the sky and the earth is playing tricks. What is the source of human fear? From unknown. Human beings may be afraid of many things, as well as people and things. But the greatest fear of human beings comes from the unknown. The unknown is always the most frightening. This mysterious black shadow did not show its true face, coupled with the supreme coercion. That's why Khan's body felt subconsciously terrified. Fear of the unknown. And the best way to overcome fear is to face it. Immediately afterwards, under the watchful eyes of the mysterious shadow, Khan raised his head, and slowly stood up again. This process lasted for several minutes. But in the process of getting up again, Khan was like a mountain, under the supreme coercion, standing still. At last, Khan stood up straight, then raised his head and chest, staring at the mysterious black figure without fear. See, The mysterious black figure seemed surprised. Fearless ants, all your efforts are like a joke in the old eyes. Boom. Another even more terrifying supreme coercion shrouded down. Only this time, Khan is like a pinnacle in the storm. No matter how coercive the mysterious black shadow exerted, Khan still stood there straight, without even frowning. In the eyes of Khan, the coercion that seems to be a mysterious black shadow is nothing. Impossible. Seeing this scene, the mysterious black shadow finally let out a horrified voice. HMPH. With a little coercion, you want me to kneel down and admit defeat? Khan shrugged and said domineeringly. Even if Zeno and Grand Priest stand in front of me, I will not have any fear. Let alone a mere magic staff. Click, click. As Khan's voice fell, cracks appeared in this world, and it was on the verge of collapse. Seeing this, Khan pursued the victory. An astonishing aura erupted from the body, and the supreme coercion released by the mysterious black shadow disappeared at this moment. Great staff of gods of destruction. Khan looked at the mysterious black figure, with a firm will and an aura like a rainbow. From now on, I am your master, I am the great gods of destruction, and I will surrender quickly. Click, click. There are more and more cracks in this space. Do not. The mysterious black shadow panicked, as if making the last resistance. I am the great gods of destruction, you are just a human ant, why should you let me surrender? His words were very domineering, but his flustered tone exposed his heart. Just because I am the great gods of destruction. If you hesitate, you will lose. At this critical moment, Khan launched a fierce offensive again and again. It's just a staff, why don't you surrender after seeing the gods of destruction? Boom. At this moment, this piece of space that was already on the verge of collapse was completely shattered. The mysterious black shadow straddling the sky and the earth shrank rapidly, and finally turned into a purple gold staff, which plundered into Khan's hands. At the same time, the palace of the great gods of destruction, the summit of the great gods of destruction altar. I saw that Khan, who was holding the big purple gold gods of destruction staff, suddenly opened his eyes, and there was a purple gold light looming in the eyes that were as dark as the night sky. Next second, the purple gold rays of light blooming on the big gods of destruction staff suddenly flourished. Under the shocking eyes of the gods and the angels, Khan exerted a little force, and the purple gold staff inserted into the pure gold stone platform at a 45-degree angle was pulled out by Khan at a speed visible to the naked eye. Khan holds the great staff of gods of destruction and stands atop the great gods of destruction altar. Immediately afterwards, an aura containing supreme divine power swept across the audience in an instant. Feeling this supreme divine power, the faces of the gods changed drastically, and their minds were shocked. Oh my god, the big staff of gods of destruction has been pulled out. It's fake. How is this possible? Impossible. How could this guy Khan? The gods were beyond shocked by this scene. Each of them has tried countless times, even after experiencing so many times, they will still be defeated in an instant in the face of that supreme divine coercion. Because the supreme divine coercion is too terrifying, it makes them feel like Zeno and Grand Priest, and it makes them feel a strong sense of fear that cannot be overcome in the depths of their hearts. All the gods couldn't believe it. How did Khan overcome the fear brought about by that divine coercion, and how did he make the great gods of destruction staff recognize his master? However, the facts were in front of them, and they couldn't help but not believe it. In the next second, the gods could no longer stand calmly on the stone platform. Immediately, they knelt down on both knees and kowtowed deeply in the direction of Khan. They did not worship Khan, but the great staff of gods of destruction in Khan's hand. Because even if you pull out the great gods of destruction staff, it only proves that you have obtained the approval of the great gods of destruction staff. In the end, you still need the godhead and priesthood of the great gods of destruction from the Lord. After that is the real big gods of destruction. It can be said. Letting the great gods of destruction staff recognize the Lord as a pass to ascend to the priesthood of the great gods of destruction. Quitella and other gods knelt deeply on the stone platform, their hearts were already shocked beyond measure. No one expected that the great gods of destruction staff, which the gods tried nearly 2 million times but failed to conquer, was actually conquered by a Khan who came to the gods of destruction summit for the first time. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would have believed that Khan could actually pull out the big staff of gods of destruction and make him recognize the Lord. Especially Quitella, at this moment his heart is not only shocked, but also fearful. Khan succeeded in getting the great gods of destruction staff to recognize the owner, which means that Khan will inevitably become the real great gods of destruction, that is, their immediate boss, in the near future. And he just got into trouble with Khan again. When Khan takes office as the big gods of destruction, I still don't know how to deal with him. And that's it. From now on, Quatella, may really change its name to Mousetail Juice. Top of the great gods of destruction altar. Khan held the big purple and gold gods of destruction staff, and his excited heart could not calm down for a long time. Even he himself didn't expect that he had unknowingly found a way to make the big gods of destruction staff recognize its master. Originally, I just came here with the mentality of giving it a try. Who knew the great staff of gods of destruction would want him to kneel and submit? Khan couldn't take it anymore. Judging from the scale of the entire Dragon Ball world, Khan's current strength may not be called the top row of the pyramid, but he is born with a tough bone and cannot kneel down. Let alone a big gods of destruction staff, he didn't kneel down when he met the Grand Priest. You are just a staff, why should I kneel down for you? In order not to humiliate himself, Khan had to conquer the great staff of gods of destruction. Come to yourself. Khan glanced at the gods who were bowing in his direction, and Khan murmured, so, am I considered the great gods of destruction now? No, not yet, just at this time. A gentle and humble voice suddenly sounded. Looking along the source of the sound, a purple space vortex slowly emerged from Khan's line of sight. Appearing along with the space vortex, there is also the Grand Priest with a humble face and kind eyebrows. Yes, it is Lord Grand Priest. When the Grand Priest descended, the gods bowed tremblingly in the direction of the Grand Priest. Before Khan officially became the Grand Gods of Destruction, in the minds of the gods of destruction, the Grand Priest was more majestic. Meet Lord Grand Priest. The 12 guides, angel, also bowed slightly to show respect to the Grand Priest. The Grand Priest gods nodded, and said kindly, this summit of gods of destruction is over, let the gods leave first. Snapped. The Grand Priest snapped his fingers, and the 11 gods of destruction and 12 guide angels were immediately sent out of the Grand Gods of Destruction world. After finishing all this, Grand Priest turned his head and said to Khan, Mr. Khan, congratulations for being the first person to recognize the Lord of the Great Gods of Destruction staff. The Great Gods of Destruction Palace has been empty for hundreds of millions of years. Welcome to its first owner. Also, regarding your question just now, let me tell you in detail. First of all, please give me the staff temporarily. What? Hearing this, Khan was taken aback. Although I don't know why, Khan still gave the Grand Priest the power of gods of destruction in his hand. After accepting the big gods of destruction staff, Grand Priest explained, Mr. Khan, because the big gods of destruction staff has been unknown for a long time, the divine power contained in this big gods of destruction staff one of the best moments. I will help you restore the divine power of the great staff of gods of destruction to its peak state, which will take 10 to 20 years. After the divine power of the great gods of destruction staff has returned to its peak, you still need to practice under the guidance of the great gods of destruction's exclusive guide and become familiar with the great gods of destruction's exclusive power, as well as the responsibilities of the great gods of destruction. Afterwards, when everything is ready, Master Zeno will summon the gods and officially grant you the priesthood of the great gods of destruction. Hearing this, Khan nodded thoughtfully, I see. That is, he is only a quasi-big gods of destruction right now, and it will take a while before he can become a real big gods of destruction. Khan is in no rush. And he also feels that now is not the time to be a big gods of destruction, it would be good to have 10 to 20 years of preparation time. In this way, I can take advantage of this time to spend time with my 2 wives. Certainly, the most important thing is to give birth to your offspring first. After a pause, Khan asked again, Master Grand Priest, may I ask who Wei Wei is the exclusive troublemaker of gods of destruction? Grand Priest shook his head and smiled, no. What? The exclusive guide of the great gods of destruction is not any angel, but the dragon god Salama who created the great gods of destruction world. You can look forward to it. The exclusive guide of the great gods of destruction is the dragon god Salama. Seeing Khan's surprised expression, Grand Priest smiled and said, okay, Mr. Khan, when you return to the world of gods of destruction, you will be the owner of this place. Now you go talk to Whis. Let's go back to the 7th universe together." Then, Grand Priest snapped his fingers again, sending the surprised Khan out of the gods of destruction world. After sending Khan out of the gods of destruction world, Grand Priest suddenly showed a satisfied smile. In fact, the Grand Priest has long since concluded the reason why no gods of destruction was able to successfully make the great gods of destruction legal right to recognize the Lord in the nearly 2 million gods of destruction summits in the past. The main reason is that these gods of destruction are extremely afraid of their superiors, so they can't overcome the sacred coercion and fear imposed by the big gods of destruction staff. If you can't overcome the fear, then it is impossible to surpass the big gods of destruction staff in terms of momentum. This is the main reason, not because the gods of destruction are not powerful enough. However, Khan managed to make the big gods of destruction staff recognize the master once, which was completely beyond the Grand Priest's expectations. The gods of destruction tried hundreds of thousands of times but failed to overcome the fear and coercion. Khan actually did it right the first time. This also just shows Khan's excellence. Perhaps, Khan is the owner of the staff of the great gods of destruction who has been waiting for eons. Come back to God. The Grand Priest summoned his large angel long staff and called softly, "Vados, can you hear? I am Grand Priest, please respond." Buzz buzz. The crystal ball on the top of the big angel's long staff flickered for a few seconds, and Vados' pretty face with a changed skin color emerged. "Father, ah no, Lord Grand Priest, are you here to inform me of Khan's achievements at this Gods of Destruction Summit?" Vados hit the nail on the head. "Yes." Grand Priest nodded slightly, and said with a light smile, "This is good news for you. Khan has won the championship of this year's Gods of Destruction Summit, and..." Grand Priest showed Vados the great staff of Gods of Destruction, and said with a smile, "Vados, congratulations, Khan, he successfully made the great staff of Gods of Destruction recognized as the master. In the near future he will become the first in hundreds of millions of years big Gods of Destruction." What? Vados, who had heard that Khan won the Gods of Destruction Summit, was already proud of Khan. In the next second, Grand Priest actually told her that Khan had made the great Gods of Destruction staff recognize him. Vados opened his cherry-red lips in surprise, and blinked in disbelief. "Master Grand Priest, is what you said true? Khan, he really succeeded in making the great Gods of Destruction staff recognize its owner." "Yes, you heard correctly." Grand Priest nodded and said, "Vados, congratulations on finding a good husband. Maybe this is also the fate between you and Khan." Vados smiled sweetly. She said, "My Lord Grand Priest, do you acknowledge him now?" "Now I admit, Khan is a qualified son-in-law." When Vados insisted on marrying Khan at first, Grand Priest actually disagreed. Because he felt that Khan, as an ordinary human being, was completely incompatible with Vados in terms of identity and strength. If Vados hadn't forced him to die, Grand Priest would never have agreed to Vados' request. Because in Grand Priest's view, it is extremely unreasonable for Vados, who is an angel, to marry an ordinary human being. But now, watching Khan grow up step by step, he no longer objected to the marriage between Vados and Khan. When Khan officially ascends to the position of great Gods of Destruction, Khan will be worthy of his daughter Vados in terms of power and status. So far, the priest has officially recognized Khan as the son-in-law. After finishing the call with Grand Priest, a tear of excitement burst out of my eyes in an instant. Watching Khan grow from a weak human being with only 300 fighting strength back then to the present situation, Vados is also very happy for Khan deep in his heart. At the same time, she was also happy for herself. In order for Khan to quickly improve her strength, she also spent a lot of effort. When Khan returned to Earth from Namek, the Universe spacecraft and the meteorite impact incident were carefully planned by her. If she didn't plan an event where the Universe ship hit a meteorite, she would never have the opportunity to send Khan to Whis to practice. If it weren't for that time, Khan's strength would never have reached the current level. Now Vados just hopes that Khan can understand her difficulties in doing so. If possible, she would rather Khan never know the truth of this matter for the rest of her life. "Husband, you are really wonderful." At first, Vados thought that Khan could achieve a good result in this year's Gods of Destruction Summit, and she was very satisfied. Result: Khan not only won the championship in the hands of the gods of destruction, but even managed to make the great gods of destruction staff recognize the owner. This has completely exceeded Vados' expectations. This news, for Vados, is undoubtedly a great news. First universe. Big gods of destruction beyond the realm. After being forcibly sent away from the world of gods of destruction by the Grand Priest, the gods did not leave immediately. Instead, they waited for Khan to come out. Call out. After a while, with a flash of colorful light, Khan's figure appeared out of thin air. Seeing Khan coming out, the gods swarmed up in an instant. Many of them have ridiculed Khan to a greater or lesser extent just now, and they don't know whether Khan holds grudges or not, but for their future immediate boss. The gods felt that it was still necessary to please them. Otherwise, if he is tied up with Khan's Liangzi, after he really takes office as the grand gods of destruction, then he may be the one who is unlucky. Quitella squeezed in first, and tremblingly said, "Well, Mr. Khan, I was sorry just now. I hope you will not remember the villain's mistakes, and don't take it to heart. Isn't this rat tail juice?" Khan made a joke, and then asked back, "Why? Did I give you the impression that you are such a narrow-minded person?" Ah, Quitella was taken aback for a moment, then immediately understood what Khan meant. Ha ha, ha ha. Quitella showed an awkward yet polite smile, and said, "How is it possible? Lord Khan is the most generous-hearted person I have ever met." Ah yes yes yes. The rest of the gods followed suit flatteringly. Khan smiled noncommittally, and then said, "You haven't forgotten the bet just now, have you?" "No. Don't dare to forget. Don't dare to forget. Lord Khan, I am willing to bet and admit defeat. From now on, I, Quitella, will be renamed Rat Tail Juice. From now on, everyone, don't call me Quitella's name anymore, call me Mouse Tail Juice." When saying this, Quitella looked proud and complacent, without any trace of shame or humiliation at all. In order to please Khan, Quitella also resorted to all means. "Okay, Mouse Tail Juice." Khan suppressed a laugh. If Quitella knew the true meaning of rat tail juice, his face would turn green. After Quitella finished speaking, other gods rushed up one after another, as if they wanted to get close to him, but Khan was not in the mood to deal with them now. So he quickly waved his hand and said, "Tired, Whis, let's go back." Star, Mr. Khan. Quote, Whis bowed to the gods and angels, "Everyone, see you later." Talking, Whis took Khan into a colorful long rainbow, and disappeared in the deep space of the universe in a blink of an eye. Watching Khan leave helplessly, except for Quitella, the other gods of destruction are more or less desolate in their hearts. Especially Champa. Although he looked as steady as an old dog on the surface, he was already panicking in his heart. If you want to say that everyone present has the biggest problem with Khan, it must be him. "Master Champa, your complexion seems a little bad, are you uncomfortable?" Alice noticed Champa's inner fluctuations, so she asked. Asked knowingly. Champa curled her lips, and couldn't hold back anymore, and said frantically, "It's over. I'm over. Alice, what should I do?" Alice pushed her glasses, and gave Champa a serious note. "Master Champa, I suggest you find a time to apologize to Master Khan. I think with Master Khan's broad mind, I shouldn't deliberately embarrass you. Does an apology help?" Champa frowned. He was clamoring to destroy Khan at the beginning, and if the Grand Priest hadn't arrived in time, I'm afraid he would have done so. If Khan just apologizes and forgives him, Champa is willing to apologize. But his intuition told him that even if he apologized to Khan himself, it might not work. If Khan can't be allowed to expose the incident at the beginning, when Khan takes office as the Grand Gods of Destruction, I'm afraid he will be in bad luck. Well, judging from the situation that day, it doesn't seem to make sense. Then you still apologize? Champa was frothing, and said angrily, "Quickly think of a way for me." This, stretch. After thinking for a while, Alice's beautiful eyes lit up. "Lord Champa, we have it." "What? Say it. Isn't your last guide Angel Vados? Isn't Vados the husband of Lord Khan? Maybe you can try to find Vados and ask her to communicate with Lord Khan. Maybe this method will work." Yeah, hearing this, Champa suddenly realized. However, in the next second, the hope that Champa had just raised was extinguished in an instant. "Alice, Vados must know about what happened last time, right? Vados has done nothing but benevolence before he came to me to settle accounts. How dare I go to her to intercede? He, Master Champa, who made you suffer on your own? Stop gloating. Come up with a reliable idea for me. The veins on Champa's forehead popped violently, and his mouth was frothy. He was in no mood to joke with Alice right now. Okay, Master Champa, Alice said with a serious face, but I always think that it is easier to find Vados than you go directly to Master Khan. After all, Vados used to be your guide angel. I think as long as you be sincere, Vados should forgive you. Go and intercede with Lord Khan. I can't help but do this. Champa's ears were deaf and his face was full of depression. Now, apart from the method Alice said, it seems that there is no other better way. He didn't dare to bet whether Khan would remember what happened that day. So to be on the safe side, Champa still had to find a way to resolve the festival with Khan that day. Otherwise, when Khan takes the post of Gods of Destruction, let alone his position as Gods of Destruction, whether his life can be kept is still a question. On the way back to the 7th universe, Whis joked, Mr. Khan, life is really impermanent. When you came, the gods looked down on you, but when you left, they all wanted to get close to you. It's just a group of guys who are following the trend, bullying the weak and fearing the strong. Khan shrugged, but dismissively. If it wasn't for him successfully winning the championship and letting the big Gods of Destruction staff recognize the master, he would become the quasi-big Gods of Destruction. Would Champa and Quitella, a group of arrogant guys who are usually high above them, talk to themselves in such a low voice? The answer is negative. This is the status change brought about by strength and identity. That sums it up brilliantly. Whis agrees with this. Gods of Destruction is such a creature. Follow the trend, bully the weak and fear the strong. Submissive to the Xeno and the Grand Priest, and hard on the humans in their respective universes. In fact, how different are these Gods of Destruction from Raditz? In Khan's view, the Gods of Destruction, who think they are the supreme rulers of the universe and put their heirs high above, are not even comparable to Vegeta. Go back to Beerus. Khan didn't stay too long and returned to Earth directly. It was exactly noon when we returned to Earth. It has been 4 days since he left. Seeing Khan coming back, Vados and Bulma greeted him immediately. Seeing that Khan came back safe and sound, the stone hanging in Bulma's chest was finally let go. Husband, what are you doing when Whis has been looking for you? Bulma asked with concern. Khan smiled and said softly, let's go back and talk slowly. On the sofa in the living room, Vados and Bulma sat on the left and right of Khan. Quietly listened to Khan talking about what happened in the world of Gods of Destruction these days, Daylight. After listening to it, Bulma waved his small pink fist and said aggressively, as expected of my husband, I can't beat these shameless to death. Although Bulma didn't understand very well, she was shocked. Haha, forget it, we can't be as narrow-minded as them. Khan said in a very happy mood. After talking about things in the Gods of Destruction world, Vados suddenly said, by the way, husband, a man named Vegeta has been looking for you for the past few days, and he said that you owe him a favor. Are you going to meet him? Oh, you said Vegeta, it seems that there is such a thing. In the month since she married Bulma, Khan hasn't paid attention to Vegeta's movements. This guy has really lived on Earth. As for favors, this is also true. When he was on Namek, he did promise Vegeta not to hinder Klin and Son Gohan from collecting the Dragon Ball, and gave the Dragon Ball in his hand to Son Gohan to summon Shenron. I owe him a favor. So far, this favor has not been returned to Vegeta. Just in time, let's repay CJEF Vegeta's favor this time. Khan doesn't like to owe favors to others very much. Soon, Vegeta, who had been waiting for Khan outside Magnum Capsules, was called into Magnum Capsules. Sitting in front of Khan, Vegeta, who has always been arrogant, looked so well behaved. Vegeta, tell me, how do you want me to repay your favor? Khan cut directly to the point. Vegeta also didn't say anything, and said straightforwardly, it's very simple, I want to know how you cultivate, if possible, please teach me to practice for 3 months. Then you may be disappointed. I have stopped practicing recently. As for what you said about teaching you to practice for 3 months, this is not impossible, but you may have to wait for a while, because I am not free recently. Originally, according to Khan's plan, after Vados and Bulma had children, he began to teach Son Goku and Son Gohan how to practice. After all, Son Goku and Son Gohan's current strength is too weak, and they have to improve their strength faster. Otherwise, in a few years, their strength might not be able to keep up with the rhythm. It just so happened that Vegeta made this request, and adding another Vegeta at that time seems to be not too bad. In this way, Vegeta's favor is returned, which is not bad. Heard the words, Vegeta was overjoyed and asked impatiently, "How long do I have to wait?" Khan stretched out a finger and said slowly, "At least a year." Looking at Vados and Bulma sitting next to Khan, Vegeta instantly understood. He nodded and said, "Okay, I'll just wait on Earth for another year." "Well, you can go now. Time flies like an arrow, the sun and the moon fly like a shuttle." In the blink of an eye, a year passed quietly at the fingertips. During this year, Khan basically stayed with his two wives, which was the most relaxed and leisurely time since Khan traveled to the world of Dragon Ball. It's worth mentioning that Vados and Bulma both tested out to be pregnant about 8 months ago. Checked again later, Vados is bad for girls, and Irma is bad for boys. This day, both Vados and Bulma are 10 months pregnant each, almost on the verge of giving birth. West Hospital, outside the delivery room, Khan and Son Goku's family waited patiently at the door. "Congratulations Uncle Khan, you are going to be a father." Son Gohan congratulated happily. "Haha, thank you nephew Gohan, I have loved you all these years, uncle," Khan said with a smile in a good mood. Rumble. As soon as Khan finished speaking, the sky in Western capital suddenly became cloudy. Immediately afterwards, a powerful breath of God came from the delivery room and entered Khan's perception. It was still sunny just now, why is it going to rain all of a sudden? Looking at the dark clouds outside the window, like the oppressive sky before the storm, Chi-Chi said a little depressed. Wrong. Son Goku shook his head, and said solemnly, "I can feel a strong sense of oppression, what is going on here?" This oppressive feeling does not come from Khan. Me too. Son Gohan followed suit. Khan, on the other hand, stared closely at the door of the delivery room. This breath of God, could it be? ZZGE. In the delivery room, Vados was half lying on the bed, her expression was the same as usual. There is absolutely no weakness that a woman should have after giving birth. Because she is not born naturally like a normal human, but through her own angel staff. Beside the bed, a petite girl stood. She is about 1.5 meters tall, and has the same long silver white hair as Vados. The long silver white hair is like a waterfall, pouring down to her waist. She perfectly inherited the genes of Vados and Khan, with a small and immature face, exquisite and flawless, just like the perfect work of God. Her clear and agile black pupils turned into silver gray at this moment. Because she was just born, she didn't wear any clothes, just a white sheet on her body. If Khan were here, he would be shocked to find that his daughter was born with a sense of ease. The silver gray energy exuding the scorching divine aura lingered around her. "Mom, what's my name?" She looked at Vados leaning on the head of the bed, and smiled sweetly. The immature voice, like a silver bell, is extraordinarily beautiful. It is refreshing. Name. Vados thought for a while, then narrowed his eyes, and smiled softly. "Ask Dad, let Dad name you." Yes, the 1.5-meter tall girl in front of Vados is her daughter with Khan. She is not like a normal baby, but has a height of 1.5 meters since she was born, and she is born with a sense of freedom. Not only that, but because of the fusion between Khan's super bloodline and Vados' angel bloodline, the bloodline of their daughter has mutated. Later Khan named this mutated bloodline the Super Saiyan God bloodline. Whether it is potential or talent, they are far above Xuanchao's bloodline. Let's not list these for the time being, let's talk about them later. While Vados was talking to her daughter, the doctors and nurses who were supposed to deliver Vados sat on the ground, looking at the mother and child in horror. They had just witnessed how Vados delivered himself with the angel staff. And it was a baby who was born with a height of 1.5 meters. How could this not make them feel frightened? At this time, Vados cast a harmonious and friendly gaze, and said with a smile, "Doctors and nurses, please don't tell what you just saw, I am very grateful." Gulu. The doctors and nurses gulped and could only nod symbolically. "Thank you for your cooperation, please go and bring my husband here." Outside the delivery room, Khan was a little nervous. He did sense an aura similar to Ultra Instinct just now, but it disappeared soon. He's sure he's not mistaken, either Vados's daughter or Bulma's daughter, born with a sense of freedom. The problem is, he doesn't feel at ease at all. How can you be born with a sense of freedom? Crunch. Just when Khan couldn't figure it out, the door of the delivery room was suddenly pushed open, and a nurse with an obviously panicked expression came out and said to Khan, "Mr. Khan, Ms. Vados gave birth, mother and daughter are safe, you can go in." "Okay, thank you." Without any hesitation, N walked quickly into the delivery room. "Miss Nurse, can our family members go in?" Chi-Chi stepped forward and asked. She also wants to go in and have a look. However, the nurse just shook her head, and then closed the door of the delivery room again. "Chi-Chi, let's wait here." "Dad." As soon as he entered the delivery room, he heard the sound of father, which almost didn't surprise Khan. Khan stared blankly at the girl in front of him wearing a bed sheet, convinced that this was the daughter he had with Vados. The question is, how did a newborn baby get so big? Could it be because his genes are too strong? Khan nodded, ignoring the tense doctors and nurses standing beside him, and sat down on the edge of the bed, gently stroking Vados' face, and said with concern, "Honey, how are you feeling, are you okay?" Vados shook his head with a smile, and said, "It's okay, husband, my daughter just asked me what her name is, so please name our daughter." "Well, you lie down and rest for a while." Immediately, Khan raised his head again and looked at his daughter with complicated eyes. Looking at her daughter who was born with a height of 1.5 meters, Khan was both happy and complicated. Fortunately, Khan's ability to accept is relatively strong, and he attributes this strange phenomenon to his own powerful genes, otherwise it would be impossible to explain why his newborn daughter is 1.5 meters tall. "Dad, what's my name?" A sound like a silver bell came. Khan showed a fatherly smile and said, "Daughter, don't worry, let Dad think of one for you." Think for a while. A name flashed through my mind. "Raids, your name is Raids." "Lades. Okay, I have my own name, thank you Dad." The daughter, whom Khan named Lades, danced like a newborn baby. Khan smiled, "Honey, what do you think of this name?" "It sounds good, as long as it's from my husband, it sounds good." Vados smiled brightly. "By the way, hubby, is Sister Bulma born?" "Probably not yet, the doctor hasn't informed me yet." Hearing this, Vados smiled and said, "Nalades is a sister now." "Huh, do I have an unborn brother or sister?" When he heard that he had a younger brother or younger sister, Radston looked ecstatic. Seeing his own daughter, N was deeply shocked. Because he could see that there was a huge amount of energy in Lade's body, although it was not as good as the one after he participated in the Gods of Destruction Summit, but it was not much worse. "You fool, are my genes really that strong?" "Think so." Khan looked at Vados again, and now he doubted more and more that the Vados in front of him was the original 6th universe angel Vados. If it was just her own genes and a daughter born to an ordinary woman on Earth, it would be impossible for her to have such a powerful force at birth. The breath of God that belonged to the Ultra Instinct that she felt outside the delivery room just now. It also verified the terrifying energy contained in Lade's body. Subsequently, since Vados is still in good health after giving birth to Lades, she does not need to be hospitalized. After the doctor's consent, Diane N took Vados and Lades out of the delivery room. "Brother Khan, is she really your daughter?" Son Goku, Chi-Chi and Son Gohan were also dumbfounded. Especially Son Gohan, "My newborn cousin is actually taller than him." "Yes, my name is Lades." Lades introduced himself brightly. Her personality seems to be very lively and cheerful. When facing the three of Son Goku, she is not strange or introverted. It was hard for Son Goku and Chi-Chi to believe that Khan's newborn daughter grew up so big, but after repeated statements from Khan and Vados, they finally accepted this fact with difficulty. Mainly, this is so magical, if not seeing it firsthand, plus Khan and Vados repeating it. Neither Son Goku nor Chi-Chi could have believed that such a thing had happened. Recovering from the shock, Chi-Chi asked, "By the way, is Bulma still alive?" "It should take a while." Khan glanced at the delivery room and said. Bulma and Vados went in at the same time, but because Vados was born with the angel staff, it didn't take a long time for her like ordinary people. That's it. Khan and others waited outside the delivery room for more than 2 hours. Cemetery. A burst of crying came from the delivery room, and a strong breath entered the perception of Kon and Son Goku at the same time. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.